Welcome back to the One Predator podcast.
All right, guys, another episode, One Predator podcast. We're starting late.
Oh, God, I do hear it, Josh.
All right.
It's doing fuzzy things.
We'll figure it out. It's all right. We got our first phone interview
With a returning
with
guest.
a returning guest. It's kind of a last-minute thing, but Brian's back with us.
He's not here, though.
I'm not physically, but I'm over the phone. Carl actually reached out, and I was just finishing up in my shop, and perfect timing. Yeah, all my machines are shut down, cleaned off for the night, and couldn't have hit that timing any better. And I always enjoy conversation with you guys.
Building
Perfect.
calls, were you?
Yeah. Had a few orders, and this I got a busy week coming up. I get to take a break from daddy daycare. The kids are going to be on winter break. My wife is a teacher, so the wife and the kids are off from school. So that means Brian can get back out in the woods for daytime calling in the morning.
Very
Awesome.
nice.
No, I'm
So
really jealous.
I am really, I've been looking forward to this week for a long time to burn the candle at both ends.
Oh,
Daytime call, morning, get my dog out, run rabbits in the daytime, nighttime calling when the sun goes down. And in between all that, what's your weather looking like this weekend? What did you guys see for a snow accumulation coming up?
we were just talking about it. We're going to get a lot of ice,
Yeah,
and then it's going to
Yeah.
transition back to snow.
yeah, I think I saw a quick report. I think it said like 3 to 6 possibly for down here.
I don't want
Yeah.
no more. It's too fucking loud.
Hours kept changing. The last number I saw was just shy of 2 feet.
What?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So you're coming down here next week?
You know,
Gonna hit
honestly,
the old southern zone?
Yeah.
I've got full intentions, and I talked about these coyotes with you, where I killed my buck this year. That little piece of habitat, and I have not called. It's such a small piece of habitat where it's located. I am so confident those coyotes are unmolested. They haven't been called with. They haven't been messed with. And if that camera goes off anywhere's between that day, 12 a.m. before sunrise, they're going to be bedded in that timber block. They're going to be running rabbits in that timber block, and it's not a big timber block. That's going to be the spot where we're going to daytime call in the morning.
Nice.
I'm just waiting for the camera to say go do it.
So you're going to shotgun them?
Yeah.
God, I gotta see that. I gotta try.
Daytime camera shotgun.
Wow. What do you use
You know,
for loads
like-
when you do that?
Number 4 buck. And the reason I use number 4 buck is time, experience, knowing what that round does, what that load does. But if anybody ever has the time to cut a shell open with number 4 buckshot and actually caliper measure, or just look it up online, check the internet. Number 4 buckshot is about the size of the caliber of a 223.
All right, so right around
And
a quarter inch.
And a 3-inch shell holds 41 of those pellets.
Wow.
That
That's
just up
four-
my chances.
Yeah, no, it's accuracy with volume. You got 41 angry bees coming out of the muzzle of your gun with a full choke. I've rolled coyotes with that thing 60 yards on the run, 70 yards on the run when I'm with guys running dogs.
Really? So run us
yeah.
through that. How do you set up for that? Do you sit down? Do you full camo? All that jazz?
Daytime,
We're
yeah,
night
daytime.
guys, so we don't do that stuff.
Yeah. Just going back to, the old methods with Downwind Outdoors, when I was daytime calling before I ever hooked up with Downwind, We were like doing the same thing in similar areas. We didn't know each other. I mean, I watched their videos. I knew who they were. I didn't know we were hunting properties that were literally like adjacent to each other, near each other, and just super, super small world when it came together. And we actually got the first introduction, and took off to where it did to present day. But daytime calling, on the ground, lower profile, you do lose the advantage of elevation with an elevated perspective. But you're gaining stability on a shot, bipod as opposed to a tripod. But the technology of tripods has definitely superseded your bipod, in my opinion. But yeah, daytime, on the ground, rifle, bipod, but shotgun, I'm swinging that thing. I got 41 angry bees coming out of the muzzle of that gun. And coyotes, typically relatively stationary moving target. Stationary moving, but they're.
Do you use your thermal when you're looking for them, or you just because
No.
I mean they get right on you, right? You're in the woods.
I mean, when I first started hunting coyotes 12, 15 years ago aggressively, it was with a shotgun, and I was sitting in the rabbit calling and shooting coyotes from. No BS. I think the closest coyote I ever shot was less than 5 yards. Hit it with a tennis racket. But those really are the isolated incidences that really don't happen a lot. But that's the shit when you can start and be successful doing that. The adrenaline rush, that is what gets you hooked.
Yeah. So what days are we doing this?
No, we actually, the last time you and I chatted, if you wanted to, give something like that a try, I definitely
do. I want to give something like that a try. Come on, Brian. How long have we've known each other a little while.
I know you well enough. You would be down. I know.
I mean, we went out rabbit hunting the other day, and
yep.
So we did our bunny hunt,
annual,
but it's not really a bunny hunt anymore.
Well, it's not
it's not a contest. It's not a contest where somebody's getting a prize for the death of a rabbit, but there's still the camaraderie of going out and hunting rabbits and having a supper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we just went out and had a good time.
And that's all it was. It was nothing more than a bunch of good dudes having a good time.
Yeah, we just got together and did our normal thing. Just there was no contest this year, which was fine. We had it was a great fucking day.
It was fun.
That was
super slow in the beginning.
It was a fun start though.
Yeah. So like Brian gets here, and now these things, I never hear coyotes here during the day. Ever.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Ever. They knew that the Messiah was down here. They were telling their buddies.
I'm in the driveway. We're BSing.
Right.
I go to my truck. Oh, something you left out. I brought my beagle.
Yes.
So I had my beagle dog with me, my rabbit dog, and I separated from the guys. I go to my truck, and I'm getting my dog's collar ready. Powering up her collar, powering up my remote, and I hear something in the distance, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be a rooster. Like, it's that
morning.
Time of
right.
Yeah, it's that time of the morning,
and we all stand there and look at each other like, is that?
And then I hear it again, and I whip my head up, and I'm like, oh no, that's not a rooster.
Mm-mm.
And we're all standing there with shotguns with rabbit loads in Carl's driveway. Like, we might as well be standing there with a bunch of rubber duckies and coyotes are howling.
Yeah.
Like,
and I was told the whole time, I'm like, this, I swear to you, this never happens. We leave my house, walk up the road to some state land.
Oh, I howled.
Yes. Yeah,
we
we're all
have
looking at each other like, who's got? Well, Josh, you had your diaphragms
I had
in
my
your coat.
diaphragm with me. Yeah.
We're like, we don't even have a damn call on us.
So I just pulled the Brian and Andy move, and I mouth howled with my voice.
Which sounds good, by the way.
Thank you. And as we walked up the road to get into the habitat to rabbit hunt, 100% they cut a lot of distance, and they're on the approach to that area. Now here I am. I've got a little PTSD with coyotes, rabbit hunting. My beagle, she's like a kid, and I'm like, she doesn't know shit about wild canines, and she's not going to give a care in the world. She just wants to find the rabbit.
Yeah.
That wild coyote, I don't want to find out what happens when they come face to face.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they're definitely on the approach. So
Yeah, they were moving.
Yeah, they were.
Oh yeah.
They
cut a lot of it. Me personally, I never had eyes on them, but you guys did.
Yeah, we saw them.
Yep.
We saw them, and I didn't know. I was like dumbfounded. I'm like, do I go home and get my rifle? I mean, how is this happening?
Yep.
Like it never. We don't hear them here. Now we're not talking early.
No, this is
Like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
It was like
No,
8:30.
I-
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
wasn't that
it
late.
was closer to 8 o'clock in the morning because
Yeah.
I left my house. Oh geez, I think my plan was leave home at 7 to get close to you to 8,
Yeah.
and then goofed off in the driveway for a little bit. So when you guys had eyes on them, I want to say it was no later than 8:30 in the morning. But they were vocal for a good 45 minutes on the approach.
Yeah, because we continued rabbit hunting, and I was like, I was so like torn. I'm like, why is this happening? Right
Yeah,
now?
it
Like
was-
so we had two west of us, and we had one that was on the east end of the property, and I'm 100% positive they came together. I saw them talking back and forth. And the other two had come closer after you had howled. Then the third one from here had made it to them. And here I just never see that here.
Yeah.
They're never, I mean, during the day, rifle season, early morning, sun up, I saw one. And it was a beautiful coyote. I never saw it again. I saw one. But like, it was so weird that you were down here. And it's like they were warning. They were warning their buddies. They're like, hey, everybody needs to get the frack out of here. He's come down during the day. We're screwed.
Something's here and it's not right.
Yeah, it's like, it was so weird. And that's no BS. Like that has never happened here at all.
That was
and
that
it
was
hasn't
fun to
happened since, mind you.
Yep. Yeah.
So you're going to need to come down here during the day so we can get this done.
So our fox and bobcat season closes.
Yeah, when is that?
Tomorrow.
Saturday.
Is it?
Saturday, yeah. I'm sorry.
The 15th.
I was
Yep.
thinking it's Friday already. It's not quite Friday yet.
You know what I hate about the closing of that season?
Is we're going to call everything in.
Yep, we're gonna see.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna see 10 bobcats, foxes, and it's not even all that. The other thing I hate is I know the end is near.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
And then we go back to support group.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do we do? We don't.
Woodchucks.
Woodchucks.
Oh, we're gonna
So we're doing the turkey thing.
we're gonna try.
I am
the turkey thing this year.
Yeah, I did it last year. I love it. Shot a huge bird. And just never had time to do it before. But now I bought decoys.
Turkey hunting is you can find time for that in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And like I talked about daddy daycare. I take care of the kids in the morning. They're pretty self-sufficient.
Yeah, mine are getting that way too. Thank God.
Geez, I keep saying 6 and 8. They're 8 and 10 years old right now. But
oh hell yeah, we were driving tractors at that age.
Yeah, you were saying that last night. I mean, it's amazing where our kids have manifested into present day of just all of the hand holding and I don't know, lack of responsibility. But like I remember my youngest, it was just after pandemic. You know, I've been dealing with the role of daddy daycare in the morning. I'm such an active willing participant in the lives of my kids.
Absolutely.
I got to do a lot of things that a lot of guys don't get to do with their children.
Sure.
You know, I wear the skirt. You know, I take care of the dishes in the morning. I help take care of the family.
Also, something else you need to record because I got to see that.
Me in a skirt, yeah. It's that social role that's
Sure.
usually dad goes to work, mom makes the meals. I love cooking. We cook a lot of wild game. We had venison 3 times this week. Made a kick-ass steak, had enough leftovers, thin sliced it. Then we had French dips the next night with the leftovers. And then we had a crock pot roast the third night. Basically did
Holy shit, I'm coming to dinner.
beef and broccoli over rice, you know, good home cooked meals. But in the mornings, you know, I'll make lunch for the wife if she's running low on time. She needs to get out the door. But my kids, when they were little, I got them started. I'd help them. And now I don't do anything. Like I molded them to help me being the predator hunter. I'm exhausted when that alarm goes off in the morning, and like I'm literally head on the pillow, going to bed, and then immediately waking up, and then I have to go through my whole day. But in the morning, it's like you're just dragging. Mm-hmm. So like I embedded this in my kids. They get up, brush their teeth, do what they need to do, get themselves ready for the day. They know what's appropriate to pack for a snack. They know what's appropriate to pack for a lunch. I don't need to do anything.
Right.
My youngest came home. She was either in kindergarten or first grade. And she goes up to my wife and she goes, "Mom, do you know that there's some kids in my school and their moms make their lunch?" Like she was mind blown. Like right. Kids in her class don't know how to take care of themselves, and their parents are making their lunch.
See, that's the way it is here.
Nature nurture. Right. Like you do you. I'm not going to stick my nose up at it, but my kids are just, you know, a completely different animal. They are self-sufficient. They can take care of themselves, and I have the trust in them to do so.
And that's, you know, mine are the same way, and I force them to be that way. Like, yeah. I can remember when we're getting way off. I can remember when I was younger, my mother worked nights, my father worked days, plus he farmed. So you had to take care of yourself. So I have forced that onto my children where they know where the cereal is. They know what to do. Mm-hmm. They know daddy goes out hunting. And like Eva, you know, she'll come in. She'll be like, "Dad, we're up. I'm going to go down and make some cereal for me and Bubs." I'm like, yep, go ahead. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? But you force them to be that. You mold them. So they're like, I mold is like a bad word, I feel like, but like you try to teach them to take care of them. And a lot of people don't do that, man. Yeah. A whole nother thing. Wow. Even further off. I have a landline here. Mm-hmm. How many people still have a landline?
I don't know.
Now think about if something is wrong.
Rid of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Think about if something is wrong and for some reason your kid can't unlock your phone to call 911.
Yeah.
Right.
So I keep a landline here. I bought an old lady phone with huge numbers.
Yep.
And Eva knows how to call. You know, I taught her how to dial numbers. I taught her memorizing phone numbers, guys.
Yeah.
Who does that anymore? It's all in our phone.
Yeah.
Ever since my little ones were old enough to, you know, have a memory and retain information.
You tell them.
We turned my phone number into like a little musical beat with a song.
Of course you did.
it was easier to remember. And
That's a great idea.
My phone number.
Right.
So they know how to they know how to, but they remember the number, but they also have a way. They always have a way to communicate with us.
Right. And
but they don't have screen time. They don't have cell phones. They don't get home from school and they have their nose buried in some freaking electronic. That shit drives me nuts.
Yeah, it drives me nuts too. I make them wait until like 5:30, and then they can watch a show, and then we'll eat dinner. And
exactly.
And, you know what I mean? They have scheduled time. Now we never had scheduled time, but it's just different now.
Yeah.
But with Eva, when I taught her how to dial a phone, now she's been doing it a while now, a couple of years. She would call me, and Daddy's like farming or digging holes, and she'd be like, "Dad, like I can't find this or where's that?" And I'm like, "Honey,
the most random, irrelevant things that don't even matter."
Right? And I'm like, "Honey, go get your mother." And then we'll talk. We'll talk for a minute about. She'll be like, "Okay, Dad, what are you doing?" "Oh, that sounds fun." And I'm like,
"It's a novelty for them. They're excited to do it. So it's almost like a toy."
Right. I'm like, "All right, honey, Daddy's got to work. I love you. I'll see you later," and I hang up. But she would call me all the time, and my father would laugh. He loved it. Drive me nuts. But it's
it's cute. It's cute. It's
kids
fun.
are only small once, I guess, is the moral of the story here.
Yeah, no doubt.
But anyway, I think we should talk about coyotes.
Yeah, I think before we got flipped on the topic of daytime calling and how we set up.
Yes.
Shotgun. No bipod, no tripod.
Sit on the ground.
I sit on the ground. I want the freedom of movement. I'm still trying to find premeditating that stand to give myself the best elevation as possible with enough backdrop. Acclimating to my environment. I'm going to wear snow camo. I'm going to blend in the best I can. Andy's going to blend in the best he can. We're using, what am I running? A Canon 4K G50 camcorder, and that is on a tripod.
Right.
On the ground.
So how do you do, man, because it's so weird for us. Like we go out, unless it's bright, we stay in the middle of the field. We're elevated, whatever our height is.
Right.
We might set up because of our comms. We tend to spread out, so everybody's covering the area if we're in a big area. A back door, somebody watches behind us.
So the biggest difference between daytime and nighttime is where is the habitat? Where do you expect the animal to be? Right. Where do you expect the animal to be? And they're not typically on the move, active, hunting, moving, foraging, feeding, hunting game, moving around. It's daytime. Are they active? Yes, they're active. Are they hunting? Yes. Are they moving? Yes. It is breeding season, which throws a whole nother scenario into a whole nother variable into the scenario of calling this time of year. But the bottom line is daytime, you're not going to find them cruising daytime nearly as much as you would nighttime.
Right.
So setting up in the daytime would be, I'm picturing this one parcel I'm talking about. If the lights go out, it's dark, they could be anywhere. Confident daytime, right at sunrise, they're going to be somewhere in this little tiny parcel of habitat surrounded by nothing. There's no other habitat that would be conducive for sanctuary of cover and solidary of bedding.
Right, thick brush cover.
Yeah,
because during the day, a coyote would they I don't want to call it bed up, but They
Yeah.
don't. It's like you're saying, they don't cruise like they do at night
I mean,
because
it
they
just-
lose
just-
the
just- just
security
pick-
of the dark.
Right. Sanctuary of cover. Daytime, I feel it's a lot easier to approach a piece of habitat with the expectations that a predator is going to be in that habitat, because they're not in the field, they're not moving, and you're cutting a lot more distance.
Right.
You're cutting a lot more distance. You're getting a lot closer. It's a lot more intimate with daytime calling, because when the lights go out and the technology that we have, nothing can hide. If you have line of sight, you're gonna see it.
Yeah.
You're gonna. But something that you brought up. Do we bring a thermal? Abso-freaking-lutely. I will be scanning because I own it. If I own it and I have it, I am going to be using a handheld thermal, because I'm going to see that animal with the thermal before I'm going to see it to the human eye.
Absolutely. We talked about this. I use mine for deer hunting, and so does Brian.
Yeah.
You take that advantage.
Absolutely.
You'll see game
Absolutely.
moving through timber way better
Yeah.
with a thermal than you will with a pair of binos. Well, I mean, you could do it with binos, but you're constantly glassing. Like
You're constantly glassing, and you're looking for movement. And I cannot even tell you how many times, if there's early season with foliage, late season with foliage, just using another property as an example, field's edge in the timber, 30 yards in the timber, I can glass out into this big shag field. And you can glass that for hours and you will see nothing. Put the thermal up to your eye, and there's something out there.
I think people miss that because there's so much. If you have the thermal, I mean, so if you are fortunate enough to have, I mean, we started with lights,
right?
Have built our
likewise.
way
Yep.
to where we are with thermal scanners,
Mm-hmm.
and we're super blessed to have that stuff.
Absolutely.
But there's so many more uses for your thermal scanner than just coyote hunting or predator
Absolutely.
hunting.
It is such a versatile tool to multitask multi-species.
I mean, I used mine when I shot my first turkey. Why? It has a rangefinder in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So every time we set up and put the decoys out, I want to know how far the decoys are, because that's how I'm going to, that Tom is going to go for the decoy, so you can gauge your shot off of, so I had my chest pack, pulled my thermal out. When that turkey called back, I saw it coming, and I was with a buddy. I was with Austin, and I was like, and we were sitting. He was watching one way, I'm watching the other, but we're close to each other at the base of these pine trees. And I'm like, here he comes, bro. I can see him. And he's like, I don't see him. I'm like, yeah, I know you don't, but I have a thermal. I'm looking through a thermal, and I see a hot spot moving through the timber, and it's a turkey. I'm like, he's coming. And here, we watched him. Once he broke cover and got into this trail that he came up, again, I knew how far my decoys were. I knew I picked the decoys. The decoys were at 15 yards. This tree was at 20. This tree was at 30. So I knew if he hung up where I needed to be. And, I've never done this before. There ain't nothing.
Oh, yeah.
My gun, I won on a raffle. It's got a BB on the end of it. Like, I don't have anything. I didn't even know what choke was in the damn thing.
I mean, I killed a pile of turkeys with my 12 gauge, and in the recent years, I bought a 20 gauge dedicated for turkey. My favorite is my 410.
Dude,
my favorite is the 410 number 9 TSS tungsten load for turkeys.
I love my 410.
It.
But I've never taken a turkey hunting.
You have to shoot tungsten. You have to spend the money shooting tungsten out of that.
Gotta have my 410. That was like something that when we were kids, I never had one. Always wanted one, but we never. My 12 gauge when I was a kid, I still got it. Was my grandfather's double side by side, double trigger. I think it might even be I think it's a New England Arms. It's a beautiful shot. I can't shoot it no more. The stock is split on it, and I'm afraid to fire it because I don't want it to blow up in my hands. But I love that gun, and it's no choke or nothing. You know what I mean? So I always wanted a 410, and I can remember telling my Dad, I want a 410. I want a 410. And when I wasn't old enough to buy rifles or guns. So then when I got and it's so funny, my 410 that I have is not. I don't think I could use it for turkey. It's a Coach. It's a side-by-side Coach.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It is the sexiest gun you've ever seen in your life. I was at Tony's picking up some ammo, and he had it hanging on the back wall, and I'm like, Tony, what is that? And he goes, that's a Coach 410. I'm like, take it off the wall. Take it off the wall. And he's like, you want to hold it? I'm like, nope, put it in the back. Here's some money down on it. I'll be back next week to pick it up. Just take it off the wall. I want it. I don't really care. And I paid like $400 for it, brand new. I don't care, because with guns you got to feel them, right? Handguns, rifles. When you shoulder that, it just fits you,
Yeah.
Especially with shotguns. But that thing, I was like, nope, just take it off the wall. And I guess you had to be there. Tony's looking at me like, what? I'm like, no, I'm serious. I've seen Coach 12s, but never Coach 410s.
Yeah,
take it off the wall.
That reminds me. I got to call Tony back. I was teaching this morning in the school, and
he called me too. We talked.
Yeah, I had a missed call from him. I gotta call him. I gotta remember to call him back tomorrow.
Yeah,
my bad, Tony. If you listen, my bad.
I'll
call you back.
He hits all of us. He hit me this morning. I was. I don't know, I got up and wanted to make myself breakfast. The kids were on a 2-hour delay for no reason because the roads were fine. But whatever.
Oh, man. We talked about, my wife and I talked about that scenario last night. Like, what do we do if? Because today was supposed to be my last day teaching. So I've told you, I don't know if Josh has heard this or anybody listening, but I was actually recognized as an artist educator through our Capital Region BOCES program.
Awesome.
So I actually have.
This guy is like, I don't know what I swear to God, if he just comes up with this shit like, by the way, I cured cancer yesterday, and it's like, so we're the outlaw coyote hunters, like, working around in the night and everything. And this guy's like, teaching kids and just you make me feel great about myself, Brian. You really do.
It is a really, really fun program that I started. I actually have a traveling shop class where I go into the schools and I bring a little bit of my shop class into the schools and I teach a shop class.
And every kid should do that because fantastic. We had shop class. I love shop class.
It's fun, but I bring a little bit of the elements that I have in my shop into the classroom as learning tools for the kids. Talk about safety, PPE, what do I do to keep myself safe, what it means to be an independent sole proprietor. This year, we actually started talking a little bit more in depth, and it was very well perceived by administration, some of the teachers in the building, some of the teachers that stayed in the classroom to listen.
He's teaching the teachers. That's how interesting he is. Not just talking about it from an art perspective, because I'm getting paid through the arts and education funds. So it's revolving around the art class for the school. Okay. So I'm teaching in and with the art teacher for the building. So, I'm turning something on the lathe, and I'll compare that to taking a clump of clay, throwing it on a pottery wheel, and you're turning nothing into something. You're creating a beautiful bowl or a vase or a painter with a blank canvas. You're taking nothing and turning it into something that we would consider an art form. Boy, he talks like a carpenter. That's how any builder or carpenter, they talk. That's how you guys you see the end product.
Yeah.
And that stretches with a lot of things.
Well, it's not just seeing the end product, it's also hearing the end product, because then I bring in the cross-curricular of how related this is to music, because I'm cutting reeds and tuning reeds and woodwind instruments and saxophones and clarinets. They have reeds.
Yeah.
They we blow through them, they vibrate, they create noise. That vibration creates the sound that you were listening to music. Instead of music, different reeds, different shapes, different cuts, different vibration creates different sound. I'm creating the voice of an animal in nature. So now we have a
Which you're
physical
pretty
piece
good
of
at.
art. Well, thank you. I try my best not to suck.
Yeah.
So, having a physical form of art, having an audible form of art, and then now also bringing in another factor of photography and video and capturing wild animals on video, manipulating a wild animal to capture it on video. But this year started talking about not what I do, but why. And that's a really, really potentially taboo subject of killing animals.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do this is just reverting back to me as a New York State hunter education instructor.
Oh yeah, by the way, he does that too. He teaches he teaches hunters ed.
Giving children definitions.
Yep.
Conservation versus preservation, carrying capacity. What happens when there's too much of one species of animal? What happens when there's not enough species of animal in a certain area? Defining wild game.
Yeah.
Wild game is a species of animal that can legally be hunted for food. Instead of going to the grocery store, I go out into nature.
Right.
And then I tell the kids, I have 3 chest freezers in my house. We had venison 3 times this week for summer. And
yeah, you get really hooked on the deer thing. I used to until I started coyote hunting.
Well, it's
I see the reasoning. Like I get it.
It is a means of passion, but also sustainability for my family.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like
And
want tacos,
everybody can do
it's
that.
venison. You want burgers, it's venison.
Right.
Like
and everybody can do that.
You name it.
Absolutely. You can go out, you can take the course, get a license, buy a firearm, go out, hunt an animal, consume it.
Well, it doesn't even have to be a firearm. You can get a bow.
You can do it. Yeah, you can do it with a bow.
Do a bow.
And Brian's a huge bow guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a tattoo on my forearm of my compound.
Oh, I didn't even know you had tattoos. See, there is a little rough and ready in you. But
that was an anniversary gift. My wife she didn't drag me. I wasn't kicking and screaming by no means. She brought me to my buddy Chris Litz, who's a phenomenal tattoo artist.
Really?
I have the compound bow on my forearm, on my left forearm, and my wife has an arrow on her right forearm.
Oh, no.
So we hold hands.
Gotcha.
She has the arrow. I have the bow.
Wait, no, it's more like dumped him.
Yes.
Oh God. But anyway,
No, that's a fantastic.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that is because
it is. It's so fitting in our relationship.
Right.
well, that and like the things that you're doing with the school and stuff. It's
super important.
Is because as hunters, I feel like we're a quiet population.
Huge. So much today, especially.
And
absolutely,
we don't step out of line. We just stay in our lane. We do our.
We don't want to make any waves.
We don't want to make any waves. But on the other hand, the people that are opposed to it like to yell.
Yeah.
And those are the people that get heard.
Yeah.
The loudest voice in the room.
Right.
Yep.
So to be teaching, kids that this is
and
a way. This could be a way of life. And it's
It used to be, man.
And it's a
you were
good
either a
thing
hunter or gatherer when you came here.
Yeah.
Right.
There was no Hannaford, bro.
No.
Like you either grew what you ate or you farmed, you hunted for it. Think about the mountain men that lived up, and that's if you didn't go out and do something, you didn't eat.
Right.
But gets forgotten is my
and the biggest thing that I want to say is I am not trying to manipulate a juvenile mind.
Absolutely.
I am broadening their horizon of
opening their eyes.
A different perspective of my livelihood. This is how I live my life.
Yeah.
And this is an inner city school district. These kids are never, I can't say never because that's not appropriate. The majority of these kids will not be exposed to that kind of lifestyle.
No, because they didn't grow up in it.
I end the presentation, like I have a PowerPoint, I have a slideshow. The very end of it is a drone aerial point of view of my shop. So I can show the kids this is where I work, but look at the environment, through the tree line. That's where the house is that I built where my family and I live. You come down the driveway. This is my shop. This is where I work. But look at the environment that surrounds my shop. And it's woods, it's trees, it's forage, it's foliage, it's forest. Yes, there's a road. Yes, there's a mailbox. Yes, there's a driveway. Yes, we have cars. We have modes of transportation. But what you're looking at, we don't just spend a lot of time in nature. It's where we choose to live because we love it so much.
That's why I live where I live.
And yeah, exactly. But that's a perspective that a lot of these kids are never going to have the opportunity to see.
Right.
And it's 20 freaking minutes away from the building I'm teaching in.
Right.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
That's it.
That's the only good thing. And like the state, like our state, they do a lot of, I'm sorry, but they do a lot of dumb shit. But the state lands, the hiking path, I kind of like that stuff. I think they could manage it better.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And you know who spends the money on it? Hunters.
Yeah, we support that.
Right.
We fund that by buying licenses.
It's the financial funding through Pittman Robertson of federal funding of grant money with the excise tax that goes into everything that we purchase.
Right.
The weekend. I can say it because they're not listening. The Cityots.
Right.
When they want to come up and you go up to, I spend a lot of time up in Saranac Lake, the Lake Placid area. You go up and look at those trailheads and the shoulders are littered with vehicles using the hiking trails from Connecticut, from Jersey. I am not painting a bad picture of anybody that's utilizing these trails, but they don't spend shit to use those trails.
And
it's the federal funding of grant money from the people that hunt in the state of New York. That is where the funding comes from to maintain all of that.
And that's an angle that nobody thinks about.
Short end of the stick.
Right.
We get the short end of the stick.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Every single time.
That's an angle. So, like for our listeners, that's an angle that nobody ever thinks about.
Yeah.
No. Well, so
we fund that.
Here is another very, very, very important angle. A little outside of the box thinking. The nonsensical bullshit associated with the background checks of ammunition and firearms. That kid Colby that hunts with me, he's going to be 21 a little later this year. He will be turning 21, but he's not 21 yet.
Okay.
So he has to wait 10 days or 2 weeks until he gets a firearm. He can pay for it in full. He can have his background check. He physically, legally cannot obtain and physically own on his person that gun until it's either 10 days or 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because he's not 21 yet. Has nothing to do with anything. So, just all the nonsense regulations that we have in New York State.
Yeah.
Anybody, any hunter, any outdoorsman, any recreational shooter that says, screw this state, I'm going to go to New Hampshire, I'm going to go to Maine, I'm going to go out of state, I'm going to buy my ammunition. You know what you're doing? You're screwing every single mom and pop, independent sole proprietor that owns a gun shop, an ammunition shop, because it's not their fault. If you look at the big picture, if you go buy your ammunition and your firearms out of state and bring them back into New York legally, you are helping the cause of putting all of those businesses out of business.
Yeah.
Spend the money. Suck it up and deal with it, and do not let that agenda win the game.
Yeah, it's a shitty process. I will 100% agree with that.
It is, but it is not the fault of
the store
the
owner.
people that are governed.
Right.
Yeah, you are causing. I believe you are causing more damage to the greater good in the state by giving the business out of the state. And all of that excise tax that you physically do not see making that purchase in New York, that money legally has to stay in conservation. It has to stay in Fish and Game. It can't go to pave your roads or some BS fund. Yep. It comes back to conservation.
See, that's what's great is like that, these are facts, man.
Yeah. Here's another fact that Josh, do you know, Carl, how the financial cost of a background check to buy a box of ammunition? What is it, like $2, $2.50?
No, what does Tony charge us?
It might be a couple bucks.
I can't remember. I know transfers is what the hell did he charge me? Like 40.
Yeah, but no. The newest BS that we deal with, the background check for ammunition.
It might be a couple bucks.
Yeah.
That is not a tax. That is an administrative fee. Where the F does that money go? Where does that money go?
Well,
it's not going to conservation. It's going to some BS general fund. I don't know. That
you're opening a lot of doors here, man.
That gets under my skin. That is something that really gets under my skin.
The most important thing you can take out of all this information is the anti-hunter. Okay, which everybody is their God-given right to believe whatever they want. I will never judge somebody or tell them how to live. The anti-hunter because we're attacked all the time, whatever it may be. The fact that they come and the trails that I've been a part of some of that construction of them trails. I know the money that was spent in that stuff. We funded all of that. All of it. So the whole time that they're fighting us about killing animals to feed, to eat.
Meanwhile, that anti-hunting hippie is going and utilizing the areas that we help pay for.
Isn't that ironic?
It really is. It really is.
So I just looked it up quick. For ammo, background check is $250.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And it's $9 for a gun.
For a firearm. Yep.
Right. And where does that money go?
Exactly.
That's not going to.
Those are financial transactions that happen every single day.
Every day.
To my knowledge, don't quote me on it, but to my knowledge, that is an administrative fee. It is not a tax. Has absolutely nothing to do with federal funding of grant money coming back to the state. So what is New York State actually doing with that defined administrative fee?
Right.
Where originally It was a conservation ththing.
Yeah.
Right. Which
So,
we
like,
will gladly contribute to.
There's loopholes in every definition, but when it's actually called an administrative fee,
Boy, you're digging some holes here today, bro.
apparently they can do whatever the hell they want with it.
Isn't that scary? Like
It is.
It's
It
terrifying.
It's neglectful. It's manipulative, and
But see, that's what's great about what we do with this podcast. Like, so when we started this, it was to give out information of things we do, why we do it, how we do it.
Yes.
To spread this kind of education. Like, listen, we fund all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's BS like that. Why I don't work for municipal government anymore. Do as we say, not as we do. How does this actually benefit the constituents that are paying us to do a job?
Yep.
Boy, that's deep. This is our first deep podcast, Josh. You know what I mean? Like Brian's reaching down into our souls and pulling the shit out.
It's
deep.
It's got to be this whiskey drink I'm sipping on.
Oh, that a boy. I was gonna,
I thought I heard ice in the background.
Well, here's the thing.
You heard ice. You did hear ice.
Brian has mentioned before, if he drinks a beer, he goes to sleep. So I've always wondered. It's like the Chronicles of Brian Rush. I've always wondered, what does Brian Rush do to unwind?
Brian Rush usually has ginger beer in the fridge with some Seagrams.
Okay. I'll put it on the list. Because we're going to get you back down here.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
So I just did a quick search here asking the question I asked the Google machine was New York State ammo background check cost. Where does the money go?
Mm-hmm.
What does the Google say?
It says the money collected will be used to fund the state's background check system.
So the program,
the state is paying itself.
Yeah, and that I love New York.
So creating jobs for New Yorkers to restrict New Yorkers.
Right. How many jobs did they just get rid of when they took away all the toll booths?
Toll booths, dude. I was thinking the same thing.
Redundancy on top of redundancy.
I was thinking the same thing with the toll booths. Think about the kids that'll never grow up with a fucking toll booth.
And they raise the prices.
Right.
You're not paying anyone.
You're not paying anybody to stand there no more. What the hell do you need more money for?
Yeah. Anyway.
The bridge we crossed. Oh, wow. This is fucking epic. So the bridge we crossed to go across the river.
Roads and bridges.
Right. So that fucking bridge has been paid for 10 times over. Now, I know they have maintenance on it. I get that.
The Castleton on Hudson Bridge?
No, the RIP.
Oh, the RIP.
The Rip and Winkle?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you took the jobs away from the people. Now, I envy toll booth people. Yeah, it's an awesome fucking job.
State retirement.
Right, but here's the thing. It's like when I would go through there, I totally have fun with it. You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of I try to joke, So I would just be kind of an asshole, but funny, And it's like, now you've removed that element.
Yeah.
Charged more money, for what? What are you doing?
Well,
our roads are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, welcome to New York State, where we turn our potholes into speed bumps and we put enough salt on the roads to deteriorate the value of your vehicle by 50% in the first year of ownership.
So here's the thing. I was actually just talking about this with my dad yesterday. I was on going out of Alacia. It is the worst fucking road on the continental U.S. Going out.
203?
No. Main Street.
Upper Main.
Oh,
yeah, that's terrible.
It's I have 2,500, okay? It's a 3/4 ton pickup. So I'm bouncing through this shit, and I'm like, and my father's like, oh my God, And I'm like, I was like, you know what I'm going to start doing? And we've talked about it in, in the friends kind of group thing. I'm just going to start billing the state for damages to my fucking vehicle. Do you think
Seriously?
you'll get tired of getting invoices from me? Like, hey, you know,
No, they'll just ignore you.
well, sure they will. Sure they will.
Yeah.
But
It's crap like that where it's the same bullshit when I ran over that package that the postal carrier put in front of my truck
under the wheel.
When your hand is forced to pay into a service and it's not appropriately being reciprocated for what you're paying for. And I don't want to sound like that cranky old bastard of, oh, I pay my taxes. But at some point, and I'm a good example of, it's appropriate to say shit like that because I came from that.
Right.
And I watched that. Like,
Right.
do as we say, not as we do. And like, I was thinking earlier today, like, I was watching a plow truck going down I-890. It's 37 degrees. It's raining. And I'm looking at the previous forecast into the future forecast. It's not going to get cold at all for like another 6 hours to even think about anything freezing.
Yeah, and what are they doing, Brian?
And they're hammering the salt on the road, hammering it down.
And
don't
there's
get
a shortage right now in New York State because these little storms will destroy our salt.
Destroy a salt reservoir. Abso-freaking-lutely. So it's not the big storms. It's the multiple little storm after little storm after little storm. I've seen the bills. I've done the work. I know what that costs for a small municipality to treat the roads for a small storm. It's all of the overhead, the overtime for the employees, the fuel costs, the material that's going on the road. It's not a small number. It's thousands and thousands of dollars every time you get a small accumulation.
And here's the thing. I'm a firm, like, think about when they didn't use salt that much and we use sand.
A lot of sand.
So they don't use sand, and Brian can chime in on this because of the cleanup in the springtime.
Yup.
We would go out and sweep edges of roads, Brian. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
And intersections where it would build up because it costed too much to apply that equipment.
And it's also the damage. Oh, God, I can't remember what the program is, but every municipality is supposed to clean X amount of infrastructure every single year of catch basins.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Stormwater catch basins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where does all that sand go?
Right.
And
Same place all the salt goes eventually.
Exactly, but the salt's deteriorating. It's breaking down, and where's all that going?
Right.
Into our waterways.
Right.
So
At what essentially?
Yeah. Makes it.
That's exactly where it's going. It's going to a tributary, into a river, or it's going directly into that main river. So at what point is it cost effective to tell people it's wintertime, slow the fuck down?
Right.
Or
they won't do that.
Okay, I was going to say good luck with that.
You have to consistently have that hand holding of, there's a snowflake on the ground and we're going to have to put 10 pounds per square foot of material on the road.
Right. I'm a firm. I say take it all away. We used to mix. So we would mix. You would have like 2 buckets of salt. We were talking straight truck. 2 buckets or like 2 buckets of salt. To the rest would be sand in the sand shed, and we mixed it. So it was
that is exactly what we used to do when I started with that municipality 25 years ago.
Right. I say use sand.
That's exactly what we started to do.
I say use sand and get rid of the salt altogether.
You use sand, invest in better modified street sweepers to clean your roads, and have a better program for cleaning your infrastructure.
You're not going to have the because the salt. I mean, they talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
the salt content in the river and how is it getting there? Well, it's common fucking sense how it's getting there.
Shit.
What we just did some environmental training at work, and we have sand storage or salt storage areas. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And when we store salt, it has to be covered.
Sure, so don't run off.
but then we spread it all over the roads
And it runs off.
and the sidewalks. Like, what's where's
You know,
where's
we sat through.
Just slam your fucking head in the door. It's
I
way
just can't
easier.
wrap my head around
seriously, no, slam your head against the door. I sat through a New York State-based training seminar on, hazardous materials.
Yep.
And in that, we were talking about abatement, like in the airport, if you see something, say something.
Yes.
They want us as municipal workers. They were asking us. They had representatives of DEC, New York State DOT, giving the seminar that we sat through when I was full-time working for the municipality. The hypocrisy of what I'm sitting in a classroom and listening to was, again, beat your head against the wall.
Yeah.
I'm
Stop
listening.
it. You're making sense now. Come on.
I'm listening to these guys, and they're like, talking about fertilizing properties with hydroseeders.
Yep.
And when to do it, when not to do it, looking at a forecast. And literally that same week, I was driving through a different municipality, watching a municipal. It was not a private contractor. It had the logo of that particular municipality in a fucking downpour on a graded bank, hydroseeding, and you could watch that green slurry of fertilizer running off of the bank, down the road, into the catch basin, into the Mohawk River.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that municipal worker. He had a look on his face that he hates life right now. He's not the asshole.
Right.
He just works for them.
Right.
Right.
And I totally sympathize with that. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, these are the same guys that were sitting through same seminars that we were sitting through for, like, what are you doing? And we are told to tell on the homeowner, like, call this number for DEC when you see this.
Right.
And that next fall, our leaf vac blows a hydraulic line, and we've got like 15 gallons of hydraulic fluid on a 90-degree corner of a road. What's on a 90-degree corner of a road? A freaking catch basin in a municipality like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the resolution? Oh, go throw some sand on it.
Right.
And then Brian says, hey, it's supposed to rain tomorrow. Shouldn't we fire up? We should probably go clean that up a little bit more effectively. No, the rain will wash it away. I'm like, what in the fuck?
It's terrible.
It's holding people to another standard. But when you are the municipality, aren't we supposed to lead by example?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, generally.
Yes.
Again, this is like, I love conversations like this because I love what I do today, but it infuriates me just knowing what I know about how it works.
Right.
And it's so broken. It is so freaking broken. It's shameful.
Yeah. Yeah. You were good.
No.
Will you hear it again?
Nope. I was gonna say, bring up that question.
Oh,
From
yeah.
from
Let's
the guy.
get to it. I got to give a shout out tonight.
Let's talk about critter stuff.
Yeah, let's get off the politics of life, which suck. And everybody who listens to us knows we had a follower reach out, and me and you touched on this a little bit last night on our phone call. I'm just pulling it up. And I will not use your last name, but because I did not ask permission, and I don't want to do that to you. But Andy asked an awesome question, and I'm
not my Andy,
not your Andy. This is a new Andy. Andy is a dairy farmer, northern Rensselaer County, I would assume. He's second year in, completely addicted. Feel you on that. This is what year? How long you been doing this? We talked about this before.
9 years now.
9 for you. It's 15 for me.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, Carl.
Right. So welcome, Andy. Welcome to an abyss of buying equipment and spending long nights.
Welcome to the abyss of addiction.
Yeah. Andy wants to know how we approach a new spot. How do you figure out where to stand, how to stand? Obviously, wind direction is huge in this.
Yep.
Picking out, you say it all the time, the habitat, where to be, and it's a great freaking question.
It is.
Because we get new spots all the time. And it's, scouting is huge if you have the ability to do so. And now, Andy's up north, so he's got a little north of us. You guys got a little more snow up there than we do.
Make it a little easier.
So you can get out there and put some boots on the ground, like Brian says, and see. Look for the rabbit tracks. Go out, like you said, Brian. Go out with your pickup if you have a scanner or a red light, and just scan and see what's there. And then daytime, right?
Daytime. Just find perimeter edge of the property and just drive it. Drive around. I think
game trails.
Yep. Fresh snow on the ground, no snow on the ground, but just get an idea of topography of the property, get an idea of what your predominant wind direction is.
Yep.
Get an idea of where the majority of the habitat is on the property and associate that with what the wind direction is. If you're going to daytime call it, knowing where that habitat is, where you expect the animal to come from, and what your approach is going to be. Nighttime is like playing whack-a-mole. Where are they going to come from? Where are they going to pop out of?
You might be wrong too.
And absolutely. It's
not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Like we actually put a lot of thought into this and screw up quite a bit. And it's like you say all the time, recognize your mess, where you messed up.
That is the hardest part for somebody just getting into it,
and discouraging as well.
Very discouraging, but recognizing what you screw. And me personally, I am not afraid of messing up. Nope. Like I will push the envelope until I screw up. And then I know what the limitations are, or where I screwed up, or how I screwed up.
How else are you going to learn?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. It's being able to be self-aware of where you goofed up, but recognizing that so you don't do it again without knowing it. And I think we said this before. The pine cone.
The pine cone. I use it all the time now.
The pine cone. It's hard for somebody that goes out and successfully experiences an isolated incident and thinks that's how it's going to happen every time.
Yep. And
at that point, you just set yourself up for failure.
Yep.
And your success rate is going to be exponentially lower than what it could be, because you're expecting that to happen every time, and it only happened one time. But the one time it did might have been one of your first times.
Right.
You shot yourself in the foot, and nothing against you. You don't even recognize it.
Right.
I may have mentioned this to you, Carl. I listen to you guys. I'm totally caught up on the podcasts, and I've really been enjoying having the earbuds since I bought them, starting listening to the podcast, and I'm all caught up. So I was like, hell, why not? So I was listening to the Fox Pro podcast with
The tooth and claw guy.
Yeah, John Collins.
Yep.
Good dude. I've had conversations with him. I really enjoy listening to him. I like watching his content. And
everybody raves about his podcast.
He's a good dude. So I listened to one episode of John and Tori Cook from MFK.
Oh, another big name.
Another very popular name in the industry. And they brought up something I totally agree with, where they retracted everything that they said, and they kind of gave a little bit of a timeout, and they're like, I got a phone call. I had a message. Somebody messaged me through the podcast. Somebody communicated through them to them through whatever avenue. And it happens a lot where they're like, well, I experienced this, and this is totally opposite of what you're talking about.
Pine cone.
They experienced the pine cone, and they don't even recognize it. So John and Tori were just retracted everything they said, and they just hit the reset button, and they said, both of them said, we are talking about what we experience the majority of the time.
Right.
Not every single time, but this is what we can expect to happen typically on the regular.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody contacts us and says, well, I don't believe that because I experienced this. They experienced the pine cone.
Just so everybody's aware of when Brian says pine cone, you were talking, it was a story about a buck, right? Or a deer?
It was early season archery. I was in a tree stand. Early season. There's foliage, green vegetation.
And you saw.
I'm in a stand, and here comes a buck walking up a game trail, 2.5-year-old deer, nice looking deer. And he's walking up the game trail, and he has this dried out bullshit pine cone in his mouth, chewing on it like a piece of bubble gum, loving life.
Yep.
Just yum, 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 yum,
right.
yum.
So
I look at that and I have a good laugh. But what I explained to you when we were talking about it, I go, that's the hunter in the stand that says, oh my God, I got to start hunting the pine groves. I got to find where the pine trees are. The deer love pine cones. And they take an isolated incident and they apply it to the whole entire freaking population.
Yeah. So when we say pine cone, that's what it means.
Yes.
And I use it all the time. Cone. I will be doing something at work, and I will stop myself and say pine cone.
I always think about that story.
Weird.
Like it's such a simple, stupid story, but like it's so easy to recognize. Like that scenario is very easy to recognize.
Absolutely.
But you can make that correlation to that guy.
Right.
Oh, I got to find the pine groves.
Right.
All of the deer love dried out bullshit to chew on when there's all this green vegetation.
Right. Like of all things.
No.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Isolated incident.
Totally.
So,
totally.
I mean, as far as what? Go ahead, Josh. You want to say something?
Yeah. When, like, I don't think this is something we've talked about, but like the amount of time we spend in the truck looking at our properties, checking wind direction,
using our hunting apps,
using the hunting apps, trying to figure out where we're going to stand. Like
for that wind,
because we use the wind
all the time.
Like, you have to.
You can't outsmart that nose, man.
No,
they have the best nose,
and we've been scented.
Oh yeah,
a lot of times
we've messed up.
And we've hopefully have learned something from it. But there's
like standing in the same spot at every field. Don't do that either.
Can't do it.
Play. Me and Josh have talked about this. Like we've hunted a spot, not seen anything, not had any, had or maybe have had some kind of response, but nothing show up. So we're gonna hit that spot on the unideal wind that we're thinking to try to see if it'll change the outcome.
Right.
So
be open. to the versatility, being versatile.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, related, unrelated, but remember we were talking about the reticle I use to judge distance?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, a great thing.
The simplest freaking thing you can do, and I apologize that I didn't even bring this up. The last stand we did that we killed, virgin property, never called it, never hunted it. It was a new permission. I was behind my gun. Andy was on his hand scanner, and we had a new hunter, one of Andy's friends, behind Andy's gun. The very first thing I did when we decided this is where we're going to stand, there's the habitat, here's the majority of the habitat, here's the crosswind we're dealing with. I pulled out my phone, I went to Onyx, and I did a line distance. What is the furthest distance on this field to that corner?
Right.
And it was
because your scanner doesn't have a rangefinder.
It was 180 yards. And then I put my phone away because I can shoot that whole field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know how far it is. If I have heat signature and I confirm predator,
Coyote.
I am shooting that whole field.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Is it 190? Is it 210?
So that's another thing. Identifying
I'm
ranges.
holding on and sending it.
Right. That's another thing. Identifying ranges at your new spots. Huge.
Yes, absolutely.
Pick a landmark.
Absolutely.
Know what you're. Because like when with red lights, we didn't have none of that.
No,
it was poke and pray, man.
Yeah.
Your depth perception at night is totally different than during the day.
Oh, big time.
So, that's another thing.
Well, there's the terrain that you don't see in the dark.
Sure.
That's there. Like,
oh yeah,
it was opening night this year. Those two, well, the first one I shot, and then you're like, oh, it's 242. That don't look like 242 yards. Right. Then you walk out there and you're going down and up, down and up. So, yeah,
you're gonna have tech. The technology is there, but you're gonna have the pine cone or what I mean. It's back to the pine cone. Patented Brian Rush and One Predator. You're gonna have that. The other thing I can think off the top of my head, because I've dealt with it, access.
Yes. How can you get into that property?
How?
Yeah.
Yes.
With crunchy loud snow. So
or if you're you said access, and the first thing I think of is I told you about that Galway property that I have. I only have one way onto the property. It's a dead end road. I only have one drive in, and the homeowner has security lights the whole way down the dead end road.
Oh no.
Hello. I'm here.
I am.
Here I am. Look at me. Like there's no hiding
the outside
the
lights on houses drive me nuts.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
There's zero hiding the approach, but it's also like an acclimated area.
So they're
used
to it?
Yeah. If a deer walks down that road, it's tripping a light. If any animal walks down that road, it's tripping the light. When the homeowner comes down that road, it's tripping the light. It's an acclimation to something on the road turning a light on, cause and effect.
But you still hate to see it when it happens.
It's still super discouraging. It's super discouraging. Have we been successful? Yeah, we've been successful, but it's super discouraging. But that's the hardest part about that property is I only have one way onto that property, and I have to walk in either direction where I park to get into the habitat, to get into the fields, to get a perspective, but I only have one way in. If you have access
to multiple,
driving the property, and it's not even having access. A couple of the farms that we hunt, many farms that we hunt, we physically cannot park where we normally park because of the wind drifts with the snow right now.
Right. Because you guys got a lot more than us up there. So
yeah, I'm confident to say that I haven't been stopped by the cops. I've had the cops roll up on me to see if we're okay.
Yeah.
Because my truck's kind of hanging over, like just kind of on
Same.
the white line of the shoulder.
Same.
And like no roof lights, no anything. Like, hey, are you guys good?
Yeah.
And whenever I walk up to a vehicle behind me, I'm just assuming it's law enforcement.
Sure.
That
does happen quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it does. Like, it's something out of the ordinary. I want that officer to feel as safe as possible. I am not a threat. I know I look the way that I do. Racial profile me. You're not supposed to on your job, but yeah, I look like a scary redneck.
Right.
I know I can come off
we
that.
say it all the time. We look like a SEAL team moving in there. You know?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it makes people nervous.
Sure.
Okay.
No doubt. Like, I got my, same thing as you guys. I got a chest pack. I got all the goodies I need in there. I got my call lanyard. I'm dressed the way that I am. I'm dressed appropriately for the weather. But when I have headlights behind my truck and I'm outside of my truck, my hands are visible.
Oh,
definitely.
I don't have them in my pockets. If it's cold out, I don't give a fuck. I want him to feel comfortable.
Right.
I want him to feel comfortable. If they get out, if they don't get out, I just keep my hands exposed, walk up, stay in your vehicle, stay comfortable, have a nice conversation, tell them what you're doing. Life is good, all good. But right now, we cannot access that property because 100% of my vehicle is going to be in a travel lane of the road. Like, you can't park there anymore. There's no shoulder. There's like 5 feet of snow right there right now. I guarantee it.
You need a trailer and take your tractor up there, Brian.
Yeah. Well, other than that, now we have to park 100 yards down the road and park closer to the barn, park near a different windbreak where we don't have a snowdrift.
Yeah.
Premeditate your access on a new property. The best way to do that is to just drive around the property in the daytime.
Yep, look at it.
Number one, that's the best way to do it. Farm, I have permission, legit sole permission on this property in Charlton. I am the only one that the landowner contacted, gave me written permission. If I see anybody else there, call the authorities, contact the landowner.
We have places like that too.
Yep.
And that
property,
line of trust that you gain with a landowner, that
absolutely.
I have tons of them that are like, they know it's going to be us there. They know if we see something, we're going to speak up or do something about it.
You're basically like
private
unhired free security that's going to overwatch the property. Like good ethics, good like-minded people, taking care of people that you just don't suck at life.
Because there's people out there that are still jack deer. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That. Think about people that, I've seen posts on the Predator pages or just in general, where somebody's dog got shot because these guys were coyote hunting from the road.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't, they maybe had the money for the thermal and never learn the body language, which we emphasize a ton.
Yes.
Because that is the first thing you need to do.
And that's something that I've complimented you guys on how you manifested to where you are.
Right.
You didn't just all of a sudden, I'm a big boy with a paycheck, I'm going to go out and buy a thermal and fuck, I shot the neighbor's dog.
Yeah. You don't want to be in that position.
No.
Because it makes all of us look bad.
Oh God, I think I told you this. That property in Charlton, sole permission. So it was myself, Andy, and we brought Andy's colleague, one of his coworkers, coyote hunter. He's done it a long time. He just bought a thermal. He had a good, same manifestation of where he started to where he is, but he wanted to watch Andy and I, and he wanted to watch us and do what we do. Right. So we hit six spots that night.
Wow.
4 of them virgin. I haven't even, and this was 2 or 3 weeks ago. We hit 6 spots, 4 virgin spots, and we hit that one spot in Charlton that I just described. And this was great. So our success rate, we split up. And Andy went lower on the property. I went to the apex of the property. He stayed low, closer to the swamp, closer to the habitat. I stayed high because of the other side of the road that Andy can't see.
Yeah.
Huge brush lot, big brush lot. That property has sold. It changed hands, but the habitat hasn't changed. We don't go over there, can't go over there. Are you going to call coyotes out of there?
Sure.
Bet your ass it's a good possibility. So the way the wind's blowing from me to Andy, crosswind, very high probability if predators come from that, I'm going to be the guy that gets the shot, and I'm going to see them before Andy even knows they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with Andy howls, I howl, he responds, I'm howling with him, invitational howls, I howl again, howling again, and then I give my little chatters in between. We hang out and wait. Andy had the Fox Pro with him. So then we started combining distress. I think he went with, I don't know, small mammal, rabbit maybe, some rabbit. I don't even remember what he was playing. And I was just doing my whimpers that I do in between. And I turn around and I look on the other side of the road, and I call Andy on the phone. I go, hey, turn around, look back towards my truck. You're going to have a red fox coming right at you, probably right off the hood of my truck in a little bit. He goes, there's 2. And I go, what? And then I go, oh, shit. And I hung up the phone. There's a fox sitting 45 yards from me staring at Andy.
Oh, jeez.
Andy has the collar going. Yeah, so I'm literally looking over the top of this fox, and I look down a little bit with my hand scanner. I'm like, oh crap! Like,
there he
whoa,
is.
where
Hello.
did you come from?
And that's the thing with foxes, dude. Like they'll come in, and we've had that a dozen times. Like you're scanning. We got guys looking both directions, and then boom,
all directions. And where the hell did you come from?
Right. Foxes are good for that.
100%. That pair of fox came from the other side of the road. This one booked it before I even saw it and just posted up, hit the same elevation as me for the same reason, perspective, point of view. It's looking down towards Andy. It sees where the call is coming from. It hears where the call is coming from. And
now,
I just happened.
You're howling.
Right. When we were done howling.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't tell you how many times we've howled, vocalized, started squealing, killed a fox.
Yep.
Or howled and howled and howled and howled, give a break in between, howled again. Okay. Started squealing a little bit, started quiet, and then you shoot a bobcat.
Yeah. Yeah, because bobcats will come out and hang, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And
bobcats are quiet, man. And
bobcats are no different than your asshole house cat.
Right.
Like, really.
How many times does that happen, Josh, with cats?
Yeah.
So
oh, my God.
Another thing with target identification, huge thing. Tail or no tail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because you don't want to hurt somebody's cat. You know what I mean?
No, I don't want to shoot Fluffy. I feel awful. Like I think of my kid. Like I'd feel awful if I shot somebody's household pet.
Right.
So that fox doesn't hear me, but just starts going towards its mate on the other side of the road. We don't ever see him again. I scan across the road. Oh my God, coyote. First thing that pops into my head. Second thing that pops into my head, watch it. Look at it. Look for the body language. As I'm watching it, that's a dog. That's somebody's pet.
Oh,
yep,
geez.
that's either a Rottweiler or an overweight lab. I can't tell the difference. Nighttime in the thermal species identification,
huge.
Yes.
But all I could see is that blockhead, the longer legs, everything associated on the front of that animal, the initial heat signature, excitement. Verify what the hell it is, and I stared at it, and then it was coming up a long driveway. A coyote will do that.
Yep.
I'm not going to shoot across the road. I'm not going to shoot that direction. There's houses back that way. I just watch it. Yeah, guaranteed 100% that was somebody's house dog. And then when it turned around, that's when you can really tell.
Right.
It turned around, went back down the driveway. I always have both eyes open. It's nighttime. I don't need to squint my non-dominant eye. I want my left eye open so I can see ambient light, headlights, flashlight,
same way.
Anything. There's no reason to squint when you're scanning.
No.
And it's with a handheld scan. And mind you, I'm not whipping the muzzle of my firearm around looking at objects. I'm looking at it with something that doesn't shoot.
Right.
It's just a handheld scanner that will not physically cause harm to anything. I'm just looking at it with the handheld.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was a house dog. Guaranteed house dog.
That's the other thing too, is like when you're checking out new spots, pull up your hunting app, look for the houses.
Yes.
Yep.
Look for the stuff
for
you're not going to see in the dark.
Know where everything is. Touchy to say it out loud. 100% legal. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's ethical.
Right.
100%.
Yeah, self-control is huge because we hunt a lot of you. Well, you've seen some of the spots we've hunted. They're tight. There's houses.
Yeah.
You got to use your head.
So that same Charlton spot, saw predator, verified predator, fox in season, bobcat in season, coyote in season. It was a glimpse. I didn't know what it was. We were going from one permission spot to the next. They're only like half a mile apart, just far enough away where we can call both of them. I was going to pull into the landowner's driveway, and I'm slowing down, and why not? I got the scanner, and I just look out my window, and I go, oh, right there. Put the scanner down, kept driving, pulled into the driveway, drove up the driveway. We got out of the truck, walked out into the middle of the field, super dark night, and we're looking back towards the road that we were just driving on. On the other side of the road, you see nothing. Set up the tripods. I know it's over there, was mousing in the ditch, and Colby was with me, that kid. Mm-hmm. So I got Colby to my right. I'm to his left. Both eyes open. I am off of the rifle. I am off of the handheld, and I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the road. I'm like, all right, you ready, bud? He goes, yep. I go, hey, safe direction. Just be conscientious of what's in the background. I go, you good? He goes, yep. So I just start squealing really quiet. And then, boop, peekaboo, whack-a-mole, pops up over the ditch on the other side of the road, crosses the road, and it is just sprinting at us. And I just start giggling. I'm like, hey, it's a fox. I go, take him if you want. He goes, no. He goes, you shoot him. You're calling him. I'm like, nope, this is all you, bud. Take him. If you're comfortable, you take him. And we're shooting towards the road. We are hundreds of yards from the road. The bullet's going to go that far. 100%. There's nothing there. Legal? Yes. Ethical? Yeah. Somebody might have a question with that.
Right.
But there's nothing there. It's the middle of the night. We have handhelds. I have thermal. I scanned everything left and right. There's no dog walkers. There's no people. There's no headlights. Shoot it.
Right. Shoot it. But that again comes from knowing your spots, daytime, checking them out.
Absolutely.
Utilizing maps.
Like there's zero houses back there. There's zero injury. There's zero chance of anything else. If there's headlights coming, it's just a fox. It's just a coyote. It's just a bobcat.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
Right.
Like if it's a missed opportunity,
yeah,
So what?
So
Like
Safe
total
and sorry.
green light. Yes. There's a time and a place, and that was the time and place. Total green light. Send it, and he piled that thing. That was fun to call in and watch for him.
Nice.
We had one run up the road on us, and we didn't fire for that same reason.
Yeah.
Oh, and this
it's what was beyond that. The road was elevated. We totally could have took that shot.
Oh yeah,
But
this is the trigger discipline of Colby.
Right.
Like I was so proud of this kid.
You're right.
It's
huge.
We parked, got out of the truck, and we should have stood on different sides of the road. And unfortunately, we both stood on the same side of the road looking at a similar piece of habitat. I start squealing. Boom, here comes this fox, like full on commitment. What does it run? The road.
Sure, path of least resistance.
The paved road.
Sure.
Like municipal paved road. And this thing is running like zero houses, zero anything. It is running down the road. It gets to about 50 yards from the back end of my pickup truck. And I'm just watching it, and I'm waiting for him. Like, is he going to do it? This thing's close enough. Like, I can't even whisper to Colby, like, don't shoot it, bud. It's on the road. Don't. Just don't. He didn't.
Yeah.
He did. Like I was super proud of. Like, you're jacked up, you're excited, you have an opportunity.
That's when shit happens.
Yeah.
That's when shit happens, and that's when shit can go sideways. And no, like we have rules, we have regulations. They're there for a reason, and it crossed the road. It verified something's not right. I don't feel safe, and it started picking up the speed. And when it picked up the speed, I looked over my shoulder. I go, get across the road right now. And he ran across the road. And then I just ripped out like one howl, just something loud, just to get it to stop and say, what was that? Mm-hmm. And no, it just never stopped. Kept going. but super proud. Never shot.
Yeah. I've had that happen to me a dozen times this year. And you know what? It's funny is it was foxes every time. Is I have access to multiple properties on this road, calling. It just happened to scan to the road. I'm not facing the road because I can't shoot that way anyway. So
right.
I just happened to pivot enough to where I catch the road and see. It's always a fox, man. Right? This thing, they run right up the road, and then it's like they're so smart that they get into a position where they know you can't do anything.
Carl, they're not, though.
Right.
No,
I know.
Really dumb.
I get it, but God damn, it sure looks like it. You know what I mean? And it's always the foxes, you know?
Yeah.
It is.
So that night when we had Andy's colleague out, and we called him the two fox. One of them was like 40 yards from me, and then I saw the house dog. It was just one of those nights where there was just nothing. We went to the spot. I haven't even stepped foot on that spot. Lights out every time. Virgin called, you're gonna kill here, and it's gonna be awesome.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pissed.
Right. Like,
so
we have one of those. We have spots like that too.
Yeah.
Where you can pull something.
But it was virgin. It's freaking like the most latter part of January, and I haven't even stepped foot on that property yet. Nothing. And I'm like, what in the F?
Right.
So now I got my grumpy pants on. So I told Andy, I'm like, we're going to the river. He's like, feel good fox? I go, bet your fucking ass.
That's another saying that you patented.
So that was the last call of the evening, because it's 2 minutes from my house, right at the bottom of the hill. And It was I don't know. It was late. It was getting really late. It was in the wee hours of the morning, and driving the speed limit, not doing anything stupid, not scanning out the windows, just driving from that farm headed towards my house to go past my house to go down the hill. And we're cruising 30, 35 miles an hour. And here comes a deer, runs out in front of my truck. And I'm like, oh, like it was the reaction time of like that quick.
Mhm.
My foot is touching the brake as I'm hitting the deer.
Oh.
And I just hear smack. I hear metal on metal. And I'm like, what the hell? And there's no like thump under my tires, nothing. The deer is directly in front of my truck and my tires never rock. And I'm like, what the shit?
Right.
Like, God damn it. I get out of my truck. Some drunk guy
Bait.
comes running out of his house and he's like, are you guys okay?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we're fine. You want a flashlight? I'm like, no, we all have handheld thermals. We can see everything. I got a flashlight. I'm looking for damage on the front end of my truck. The metal to metal sound was my license plate folding under and the aluminum license plate going smack against my steel aftermarket bumper that I have.
Right.
Not a dent.
So
nothing.
that's why you have that big push bumper on that thing.
No, I have that big bumper because I hit a deer going 73 on I-88 and I never touched the brakes.
Ooh, no.
That shit blows up the front end of a factory truck. So that's why I have that bumper. So that bumper, like, yeah, I was curious what was going to happen when you hit something hard, but man, that deer was lucky as shit. It was like straddling a squirrel in the road. I hit it. It was slipping on the pavement, so it lost traction. It stayed low. I hit it, rolled it forward, straddled it with all four tires, and then it stood up and it went back over into the timber, and we were staring at it with the thermals hanging out with his buddies. He had a little bit of a hitch in his giddy up.
I don't doubt that.
Well, he just got rammed.
Oh yeah, literally, he just got rammed. So like he really just probably a good hard surface area, rib cage lung punch, and he definitely felt it in the morning. But so yeah, we gathered our composure, got back in the truck, thanked the guy for coming out and asking if we were okay. Went to the bottom of the hill.
People.
Oh yeah, no, good dude. Past my house, got to the bottom of the hill, and past experience, experienced property. And I told, I think his name was Al. I go, yeah, this is a 10-minute spot. We will call if nothing shows up within 8 to 10 minutes. We're out of here. The habitat does not dictate wait.
Mm-hmm.
They're here or they're not. And I said 9 out of 10, Andy's going to shoot and kill a gray fox. So Andy stands, like, we literally pull off of the highway, park right at the mouth of the gravel road, which is the landowner's driveway. And then we walk from there. And I can't say Andy. Andy chose to do this time, but I usually dump somebody off to stay on the gravel road.
Mm-hmm.
And then we walk out into the field and I'll call from the field. So Andy basically watches the back door, and then we can check all the big habitat. And told Andy, I said, I'm just going to squeal. Haven't called this property yet. There's a transient, I believe it's a transient male coyote that I've caught multiple times during bow season, saw him during the gun season, didn't have an opportunity on him, deer hunting. But he's been frequenting here. He's been hanging out quite a bit. So I said, I'm just going to squeal. Not even going to howl. He's by himself. He's hunting, looking for food. I've only seen one down here, and close enough time frames. If he's here, we'll get him. If he's not, probably going to bring in a fox. And it was like 2 minutes into it, I'm scanning everything, and I look over my shoulder back towards Andy, and Andy's off of his handheld and behind the rifle, and I just start giggling. And then I hear the smack and the crack of the bullet, and I'm
Right.
like, fuck yes. So as soon as that happens, then I start kai-eyeing. Then I'm just total coyote mode, kai-eyeing, ripping howls, kai-eyeing, whimpering, kai-eyeing, and then pausing, waiting, howl, kai-eye, look at Andy, and I can just see the shit-eating grin on his face with the thumbs up. And so we stopped. We walk over to Andy, and I'm like, gray fox? He goes, man, there was nothing there, and then all of a sudden it was there. And one of the other difficulties that we have is there's a commercial building to our west, and there's parking lights. Like there's super big bright lights.
We got
he
one
goes,
of those.
Yeah.
yeah. And he goes, I'm looking down the gravel road, nothing. And I scan back over, and this thing's running up the road at me. Drop the handheld, go to the rifle, and I'm on the rifle as it stops, and it sits, and it's staring at me. And it was one of those few scenarios. Is that a fox or a coyote? It did fox things, but now it's doing coyote things. And he could not determine, but I would have done the same thing. It's all in season. Fucking send it.
Yo.
And when he shot, he's like, there was no like fox explosion. Like you hit a fox with a 22 250, you usually see some hot fragment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He goes, I shot, no fox explosion, and it just piled.
Huh.
He goes, I hit it center, you know, and it's there, it's dead.
Yeah.
You know, held up the scanner. I'm like, man, that thing's pretty big. I'm like, that might be that like young transient male coyote. Like I couldn't tell. Andy couldn't tell. It was like 150 yards. That's where it checked up. That's where it stopped. A little bit of a poke on a fox, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that far. So I go, well, you go get the fox, or you go get whatever it is, and I'll go get the truck. So I got the truck, drove back down, and Andy and Al are walking back to my truck with one of the biggest gray foxes that we've ever shot. It was knocking on 11 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I think the biggest gray I've ever shot was like 12.4.
Okay.
And that was huge. But yeah, that fox is in my freezer. Yeah, that super pretty gray, 0 pelt damage, and that's pretty unique with a 250.
Cool. This was a long time ago. We were still on red light days. One of my friends came out with us. He wanted to go.
Yeah.
And
What was he shooting?
it was a 257 Weatherby mag.
Jesus.
So he wanted to go
That's
out.
what I remember from this story.
So we go out.
That was like one of our first night kills, man.
well,
Josh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he Josh a fox?
Yes.
Oh, we joshed the shit out of that
So-
fox.
So we hit a few spots, and we come down here at Carl's house, and we're out in the field. And I was left, Carl was middle, my buddy was on the right, and we're kind of staggered.
No comms.
No comms, red lights.
Red lights.
And we
Flintstones.
see something on the left-hand side, and for whatever reason, I don't remember why I did it, my scope was full zoom.
Yeah.
So this thing comes in, and I'm like, I can't see it. I'm like searching all over the place, couldn't figure out why I couldn't find this thing, and my buddy steps out, turns with that 257, and boom, dumps
There
this
were
thing.
bipods back then. We were running trigger sticks then.
Yeah, I think my monopod.
Yeah, we didn't even have like the bogs.
No, it was like
God, that was
early
Flintstones.
days.
I got pictures of that. It was a
And
beautiful fog.
We walk up to this thing. It's like, oh man, nice gray.
You never see grays.
And-
We were so virgin to it. Like,
yeah, and
so weird.
well, it was on the entry side that was laying up, face up.
Yep.
So grab this thing and flip it over, and there's like an 8-inch hole on the other
he
side.
smoked that thing.
Cannonball.
Oh my! Like you could see the ribs sticking out. It was he messed it up good. It didn't go anywhere.
Graphic.
Hey, it didn't go 20.
Graphic.
Oh, I forgot about that, dude.
Yeah.
That was like when that
True.
that was bare bones when we started.
Yeah.
Like,
Man.
cheap caller. We had the most I look at that, to what we have now. Oh my God.
Night and day.
Night and day difference.
Mm-hmm.
With the technology.
Oh, dude, it's so fun. It's fun for me to think like where I started to where I am now and what I used to do, but the excitement level of what you used
red
to
lights,
have,
man.
Yeah.
holy shit!
Just them
so,
two beams just coming at you.
like so you've been to my shop. So when you're here and you drive downhill, there's a bunch of commercial businesses on the other side of the river from me. One of the best things that I would utilize for success at nighttime is, and this sounds so hypocritical, but it works. If you have cloud cover and the light pollution, it is so much brighter at night.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So your light pollution is reflecting off of the cloud cover back down to the ground and actually giving you better ground visibility at nighttime.
Especially if there's snow on the ground.
Oh yeah, snow.
Yes, with snow on the ground. So where Andy just shot that fox, what like one of the top 10 hunts that I've had. Super good friend of mine, my buddy Mark. He's close enough to us where he actually got ordained and he married myself and my wife.
Nice.
Like he was our minister at our wedding. Like it was amazing. He's that good of a friend. So Mark and I are down at the bottom of the hill from me, and we park the way I normally park. We walk in, but what we did this time, we walked all the way across the field and shotgun, number 4 buckshot, and he sat one way facing one way. I sat one way facing the other way, put an e-collar in the brush. We are in the rabbitat. We are sitting in the rabbitat with shotguns. Nighttime, snow on the ground, light pollution. We can see really good.
Wait, nighttime with a shotgun?
That had to be
fuck yeah,
fun as hell.
Yeah, nighttime with it. I don't want to toot my own horn. I can't even tell you how many shotgun coyotes I've had at nighttime when I first started.
No lights?
No lights.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we
No
got a
lights.
guy around here that hunts like that, Mike.
It's fucking like the whole time adrenaline pumping, the whole time, just waiting. So it was so freaking bright. It was so bright. I had one of those little wiggler decoys on the side of the Fox Pro.
Yeah.
I had that thing dancing around. I howled, had the e-collar going, and then I'm howling back with the e-collar, ki-eyed a few times, and I shut up. And then I turn the little wiggler on. It's just dancing around. I start squealing, have the e-collar going. The e-collar, I don't know. I think I probably had a rabbit distress going. And we're sitting there, and it's like 5 minutes, 8 minutes. It's been a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere, I just see running and then flying through the air, lands on the e-collar as I shoot it, and it just piles up.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
No bullshit. It just
that's-
piles up at the e-collar. And I'm like, fucking hey. Like, that was cool as shit. Like, the e-collar's like 12 yards from me. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, and I look over at Mark, he goes, that thing came in. He goes, I saw a little bit of movement and it stopped, and I'm looking at it trying to figure out, like, what is it? And then he goes, it just took off running, and I just see it Supermaning through the air, and now it's dead. He's like, that was awesome. And then as we're talking, it gets up and runs. We're like, oh, fuck. And then it's just like, wham, 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 wham. now it piles up. We're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like, but fuck, number 4 buckshot at 12 yards. Yeah.
I guess we're calling Tony tomorrow.
Oh,
We're
fucking
gonna
wild.
need some number 4 buck.
No, don't buy any. So
Don't buy any. I want to go do this.
Oh no, I'm telling you not to buy any because I have that much.
Oh,
The state of Pennsylvania, just one of those goofy regulations. Number 4 buckshot is the largest. Yeah, don't quote me. I think it's the largest size buckshot you are allowed to legally use to hunt game predators in the state of Pennsylvania. Number 4.
Okay.
So the amount that I used to hunt Pennsylvania coyote hunting, I got a shitload.
Big stockpile.
Yeah. Like when I used to do a lot of vending for my business, the Northeast Outdoor Show down Dutchess County.
Mm-hmm.
There was a vendor there that had a freaking pile of number 4s, and I'm like, yeah, how much for a box? Yeah, I'll take 10. Yeah, doesn't go bad.
Yeah, no, that worked out pretty well then.
Yep. No, I got plenty of number 4s. But yeah, I mean, you look at the caliber, velocity, but the number, the 41 pellets coming out of the end of the muzzle with number 4.
Yeah.
41 pellets versus 15 of double aught buck.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. You got a lot more knockdown power with double aught buck.
Yeah.
But you don't need it. I would rather have more volume.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense.
You and I both know if you don't pile that coyote on the first shot,
See you later.
which is just as likely to happen with double aught buck. I'd rather have 41
so I need a semi
bees coming out of the end of my muzzle for that follow up shot.
Yeah.
And it's tried and true. I got a Carlson's coyote choke tube that I shoot out of the shotgun, and one of the coyotes I shot in Pennsylvania, running dogs with the guys. I heard the dogs like way off in the distance, ran out into the timber, got ahead of the dogs. I mean, it's basically rabbit hunting for coyotes with dogs.
Okay.
Doing a loop, finding topographical features, looking for the travel paths. And I dumped off and I heard the dogs, like, they are so far away, but the coyote is always ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
You hear like Chip, nothing against Chip. Chip goofed up. He's chasing my beagle, chasing the rabbit.
Oh, I did it too, man.
She
started going off, and I was like, I just bolted, and it was brush, so I'm bulldozing through there.
Nothing against you guys. That's my neglect for not explaining. Like,
yeah, you didn't
she
tell
gets
us that,
on
Brian.
I fucked up. Find where it crossed. Find where the dog goes. Find where she's attracted to. And like get a good perspective of visibility in that area and just hang out and wait.
We were just dedicated in the beginning.
Let the dog run the rabbit and do the loop, catch the rabbit on the go around on round 2.
Right.
And when I saw that rabbit running round 2 and I got up, because my responsibility is to take care of the dog. I'm responsible for the dog, so I tried to stay ahead of the dog. And I thought Chip stayed put. I tried to get ahead of the dog because I want to be responsible for my dog. Oh yeah. So I see the rabbit cut through.
Well, he is our beagle when you're not around.
Oh yeah, I learned that. That's awesome.
He'll get right in the stick. He will.
Oh man. So I see the rabbit cut through, and I hear my dog down below, and that's why I cut where I did. But the rabbit cut up to do the loop up, and I'm waiting for the gunshot, and there's nothing. So I run back up, and and now I'm back on that path, and I hear Chip down below. man, your dog's fast. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I go, Chip, that rabbit's a mile ahead of my dog. That rabbit already
I
crossed
remember that. He's
right
like,
where
"That thing
you
is
were
way up."
standing. Right. Like, oh my God.
That was super
But
fun.
yeah,
though.
very, very, very similar with a coyote. Like, I heard the dogs so far off, but they were getting a little louder. So I looked at the topography, and I cut out and I ran out, and I'm looking at the topography, and it was like a staircase. It was a terrace, hill, terrace, hill, terrace, hill, and it was previously logged. So I run out far enough. I see all the thick shit, and I'm like, man, like this little artery right here looks super inviting to run. You know, like a means of egress. Like if I need to get away, this is where I'm going to run.
Yeah.
So that's where I parked it, hit the nail on the head, and I just took a knee. 12 gauge, Carlson's coyote choke tube, number 4 buckshot, and here comes the coyote. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. It's running right, like middle of the day. Dogs are baying, they're screaming behind it, but they're so far behind it. The coyote's just on a lope. It's running. It's literally running right at me. Not a clue in the world.
No, because it's worried. It's in flight mode at that time.
Yeah, 100% flight mode. So I am on my knee, so stable, so ready. I see the coyote. I lose the coyote on the terrace. I see the coyote on the next terrace. I lose the coyote behind the roll of the hill. I see the coyote on the next terrace. Then I lose the coyote, and I'm like, you're in trouble. Safety's off, and it pops up to the next terrace. It stops, and it was like it was crossing the road. It looked left, it looked right, and then it looked up to come uphill, and then it just said, oh, fuck. And that's where it died. Like, if you could see the whites of a coyote's eyes, I saw them, and it was 25 yards, and that spread pattern was about the size of a softball. Right in the chest, 25 yards with that choke, and it just piled right where it laid.
I gotta try this.
And
made a whole new addiction for me.
That spread pattern at 25 yards still held the size of a softball out of that choke. I mean, it was like 41 pellets went into the chest cavity of that dog, and it didn't even twitch.
Yeah, that's a tough pattern.
And like I've shot coyotes on the run off of dogs doing that in PA at, oh shit, what did I say before? 60, 70 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's a poke.
They like, you hit them, they roll, and I'm giving them a follow-up shot. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
It's kind of like a rabbit sliding down a hill.
Hey now. I knew this. Listen.
You just got to give them that double tap.
Listen, I'm just saying, okay, that thing was moving. Now, mind you, it was gravity causing it.
It was gravity, Carl.
Not its feet. I was there to do a job, and I succeeded 100%.
So tell everybody what happened on that one.
Yeah, so the dog...
That was fun, and I laughed hard.
So we were standing next to each other. So
we were just standing there
running this
bullshit.
rabbit, and now we have since learned how to hunt with Beagle. That's not Chip.
Yep.
And so I'm watching what Brian's doing. Like now I'm learning. Like and that if you're not learning, you're not doing anything. I'm watching you.
You let the dog work.
Right.
The dog is loving life, having fun.
Yeah.
You let the dog do the dog.
And here's the thing, guys. We fired a couple times that day, but it was, not at targets, misses, that kind of thing.
I totally killed 2 hawthorn trees.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, yes you did. If anybody needs any stumping done, Brian's your guy. So the rabbit emerges on this little knoll. What are you getting at? You're stopping me.
So she went into the brush.
Yes.
And
You were down in there.
Brian's like,
Oh yeah,
hey,
Josh,
go,
you actually called the visual on the rabbit.
go up the trail a little bit.
Right.
So I went up a little ways, and I could see her doing her thing in there, sniffing around.
That's her second time in there, too, by the way. That was her second time in that.
Yeah,
in that area.
Yep.
So she jumps one, and this thing runs straight at you guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, here it comes, straight at you.
And right, so Brian fires. It's like a bowl shape, not super high, 3 feet, something like that. And the rabbit,
little bit of a snowy, slidey, slippery hill at the top. Shot the rabbit at the top.
Rabbit runs across the top. Brian fires. You fired. And I thought, now swear to God, I had no idea that you had connected. I thought you had missed. So this thing, you hit it. It's now, okay, it was rolling down the hill. But being a predator hunter,
moving.
Being a predator hunter, who let's dive into this, shoots a 223, which everybody hates because of runners. We don't stop
Carl,
until
I've
it's not moving.
Yeah.
I've shot a metric fuck ton of coyotes with a 223, and if they're not dumped, you shoot them again.
Yep.
I understood the assignment and I did my job. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So you dump this thing. It rolls down the hill, and now, maybe it's my eyesight. Maybe I'm old man now and I can't see shit. It was still moving. I did my job.
Yeah. Put another one in it.
It was epic. It really was. I wish I had a GoPro on for that.
Because of gravity, and it was
gravity
down a hill, dead.
Yeah, but I totally.
Oh yeah, you insured that.
Oh yes. Yeah, I sent it straight to Jesus. It was.
Twice.
And it was, but again, it just didn't look that way to me. It looked like it was still running.
Yeah.
It was just momentum and gravity, and I joshed it.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good
ending.
That was a good time.
That was a good ending to that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh, so on top of this, just to throw it out there, if you guys have a total open invite, if you guys have any time over the next week, I got full intentions. Weather pending is the big thing coming up of running the shit out of Kelly Dog.
Oh God. I want to be a part of that.
It's fun.
I love rabbit, and that's something that's new to us too.
I'll sacrifice some sleep.
Is rabbit hunting, and super fun, super good time. And
Josh.
And the other thing is, what out of all of this, okay, people laugh. Practice with your firearm, right? So, like I say all the time, if you want to be, you can shoot targets all day long. Okay, inanimate objects that aren't breathing. You want to practice on shot placement and stuff? Take a 22, go shoot some squirrels. Small game, small caliber, precision, freehand. Don't use your tripod. Don't use no sticks.
Right.
That's how we started, man. Leaning on trees, plinking squirrels out of the air.
No doubt.
Do that.
No doubt.
That will make you a better shot. Woodchucks, man.
Yep.
Like when Tony started, he went through his season. We get to the end, and Tony always calls us in the morning when he's doing his thing. And he's like, now what the hell do I do with myself? And I said, listen, man, woodchucks, bro, that's what we do. You can watch the predator pages in the summertime with the states that have seasons like we do. And the woodchuck pictures start flooding in.
Oh my God.
Now, Tony does that shit all the time now and loves it.
I brought my brother-in-law from Kansas. He just got married in Florida. He lives in Florida now. He came up before he had his wife now. Before he was engaged, before he had a girlfriend. When he was bachelor, he came and stayed with us for like a couple of weeks. Like, it was great to have him here. summertime. It was warm out. Like, we had beautiful weather, and I'm like, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm like, let's go shoot some woodchucks. He's like, okay. So I actually gave him my tripod and my video camera. I said, you want to play cameraman? He's like, yeah. So we were actually filming our woodchuck hunts. And
that's a great idea.
I made this logo, Chuck Squad.
Oh my God.
It's a picture. It's a black silhouette of a woodchuck, and the negative is taken out, and it's a hashtag Chuck Squad. So, oh my God. So like he is just such a funny bastard. So Austin's like, man, these would go good with eggs. Like anything he said, we should cook this with eggs. So we're down there, the same farm right at the bottom of the hill. This 1 year, I called up the landowner, and from the highway at the bottom of the road for me, I look out in the field and I can see a woodchuck mound, and I see a woodchuck, and then I see another woodchuck, and I call up the landowner and I go, hey,
by the way,
are you having any issues like with any of your tractor implements or anything with the woodchucks? He goes, holy shit. His name's also Brian. He's like, Brian, I broke an axle on my hay wagon, and I also broke the gearbox on the tedder because of those fucking woodchuck holes. He goes, come kill them. 3 fields, and they're not huge fields, but they're 3 separate fields. I killed 34 freaking woodchucks on his farm that year.
Wow. That's super good for practice.
Yeah.
I'm like, it was mind-blowing. 17 HMR.
Use a small caliber. Have some fun with it.
17 HMR, and if anybody has that caliber and is shooting woodchucks, there is a big difference between your 17 grain and your 20 grain. Sight it in with the 20 grain, not polymer, but hollow point.
Really?
Me personally, I found a better reflection of the ethics. Did I kill it? Did I shoot it? Did I hit it? Yes.
Recovery.
But actually shoot it, kill it, verify it. Yeah. It didn't crawl back into the hole. You did your job.
Yeah,
you did your job.
Polymer tips will do that with them. I've lived that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a 22 mag.
The hollow point.
Yep. Mushroom.
20 grain. Way better knockdown power, fragmentation of what that bullet's designed to do when it hits the target. And guys, it's ethics. It's a living animal.
Yeah.
I do not want to see something suffer.
No.
Right. And if you're gonna eat woodchucks, my grandpa used to eat them in the spring because
chuck and noodle soup.
Yeah.
Not chicken. Chuck and noodle.
He said once summertime came, they get real oily and smelly and gross.
Yep.
So, like, because my dad he talks about all the time, they ate everything. They ate muskrat. He had a trap line. They were farmers. They didn't have a lot of money. So, if you're gonna eat woodchucks, eat them in the spring. And they're good.
It makes sense because they're just coming out of hibernation.
Very similar with other game species of look at what you're cutting and find where those glands are, cut them right out of the joints, get rid of the glands. It's a good palatable meat. And honestly,
they eat grass, man.
Look at the diet. Look at the diet of the animal. A white-tailed deer, herbivore, woodchuck, herbivore, squirrel, herbivore.
We ate lots of squirrels.
Super lean meat. The number one thing that's super hard to get over is hunting fur bearers. I'll usually, depending on what I'm going to do with the coyote, with the fox, with the bobcat, I'll we'll shoot them in the field, throw them in the bed of the truck. When they get back to my shop, they go right into a garbage bag and a bottle of permethrin, and I spray permethrin into the bag, and then I tie it shut. I am killing all of the fleas and the ticks on that animal.
Oh,
Gotcha.
It is.
didn't even think about that.
It is an animal that's typically not meant for human consumption. So
People
I
do eat them though, Brian.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Wait. Hold the phone. Of course you have, but what are we talking? Coyote backstrap? Come on, give us.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, because everybody goes for the backstrap. Don't matter what it is.
Yep.
You gotta go to the backstrap.
Okay.
How was it?
I'll finish where I was. Predators, fur-bearing animals. I'm harvesting just for the fur, not for food. I'm going to bag them. I'm going to spray permethrin into the bag. The amount of fleas and ticks on these animals, I don't want them in my shop. I don't want to bring my dog into my shop. I don't want to expose them to my body. I don't want to bring them into my house. I'm going to kill everyone. The last bunch of rabbits I shot, when I brought my 8-year-old out, we shot between myself, Colby, and my friend Brian. I think we shot 9 rabbits that day, and I couldn't get over the fleas. The amount of freaking fleas jumping off of these rabbits, I couldn't get over it. So I soaked them.
On the rabbits? Really? Well, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they have fur.
Dude, every rabbit, every freaking rabbit, every age is full of fleas. So I bring them into my shop. That's where I butcher everything. And I brought all 9 rabbits in the shop, throw them in the slop sink, pull them out one at a time. And the fleas are just jumping everywhere. And not a couple.
Yeah. Josh is shaking over here.
Yeah, not a couple. I'm just like, I'm grossed out. I'm like, oh man. So I turned on the nozzle sprayer to the faucet, to the slop sink, and I just started saturating the rabbits. I laid down a sheet of cardboard outside of my shop, sub-zero temperatures. It was cold as shit, and I'm like, well, the internal temperature, hopefully this will kill the fleas or stunt the fleas enough, and I can bring them back in tomorrow morning and I'll butcher them.
Mm-hmm.
So I laid all the rabbits down on a sheet of cardboard, soaking in water, cold water, left them outside overnight. They froze to the cardboard, peeled them off the cardboard. I mean, there's like pieces of cardboard stuck to the rabbits. There's pieces of rabbit stuck to the cardboard. Brought them into the shop, and all of those fleas just reanimated.
Oh, no.
Like, it didn't even matter.
So that didn't even count.
I mean, they were lethargic as hell, which made a difference. They weren't jumping like they were, but I'm like, just gross.
Yeah.
So, like, palatable meat that you're actually going to consume, yeah, I don't spray it with a chemical, but fur-bearing animals, throw fox, bobcat, coyote into a bag, garbage bag, spray it with permethrin, tie the bag shut, kill the critters, and 6 hours, 8 hours, not too much longer. They'll go on the rack, and I'll skin them.
I never even thought about that.
No,
but
because we toss them in the kill pan, and they go to the fur girls, and I don't know if she does. She must do something.
Maybe.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's a good question to ask.
Same thing with the woodchucks. The amount of freaking fleas on woodchucks in the summertime,
right in the dirt.
Oh yeah, because that's where they come from, man.
Right. Especially if it's sandy.
Yep.
So back to the coyote backstrap.
Oh boy.
One of my friends is an executive chef. I'm not going to name names.
Fine.
He owns a business.
That's fine.
So he tells me he has a recipe for coyote. And I'm like, bullshit. He goes, Brian, I swear to God, there's this place down in New York City. that sells coyote backstrap for some astronomical price.
Hold
So we
on
gotta
here.
start
a
selling
No,
minute.
this
dude,
in New York.
you and I are on the same page.
We're already. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I know.
So we gotta start taking these things down to the city.
Is there I see an opportunity here to actually make
So,
money off these damn things.
Here's the thing. I asked him. I said,
Sure.
I go, serving food to the public has to go through the FDA.
Yeah, so how do you do that
Yeah.
with fucking coyotes?
Fuck the FDA. Like the regulations that they have of what's healthy and what's unhealthy for us. I would rather chew on a lead ball than trust the FDA for what they say is appropriate for human consumption today.
Yeah.
So, but when you look at the government regulations with this, I said we have deer farms, we have cow farms, pig farms, chicken farms.
Yeah.
All of these animals go through a process where they can be served to the general public. How the hell is a business getting away with serving coyote? There's no coyote farms. To my knowledge, nobody's raising coyotes to serve as a palatable meat to the general public.
Yeah.
So he didn't have an answer to the question, but he's like, I've got this recipe. We got to try it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm down. I'll try it. Like I build game calls. You're an executive chef. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job.
Right.
Like, if this is something you want to try, I'm down. So he said, next time you shoot a coyote, give me the backstraps. I'm like, okay. I am not going to field dress a coyote. I am not going to quarter a coyote. I will, when I skin a coyote, I'll get you the backstraps.
Yeah.
I can do that. Like, we skin a lot of coyotes in my shop. So this one particular coyote, skin it, and I'm like, fuck, why not? So I peel the backstraps off.
Mm-hmm.
Not nearly as big as you think they would be on an animal that size.
Okay.
But there was a good amount of meat. So I peeled them off. I put them in a food saver bag. I vacuum sealed them. I brought them up to the club, gave them to my friend, and he froze them. And he goes, when's the next time you're going to be up here? And I'm like, well, I got hunter ed course this day. This is the next time I'm definitely going to be in the club. He goes, perfect. We have an event that day. I'll pull them out that morning. I'll thaw them, and I'll prepare them with the recipe that I have. And I'm like, okay, I'm down. So that afternoon comes, he walks out of the kitchen, and he's got this platter of meat. And I look at him, and he's got this shit-eating grin, and I give him the same shit-eating grin back. And he goes, well, here you go. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be your test monkey? And he's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I cut one in half. I shit you not, it was one of the most palatable cuts of meat I've ever had. It was like, I don't have a fucked up palate.
That was my next question.
It was delicious.
Huh.
But I credit the taste to the preparation and the marinade.
Yeah.
If you took that meat and put it in oil with a little salt and pepper, I don't know how it would taste. It was very masked with the preparation of the marinade that it was in.
Okay.
He did a bang up job dressing it. I don't know what it would taste like on its own. I'm not sure, but it was good. It was really good.
So
And I shit you not. There was enough there where we took the little medallions of backstrap and cut them into quarters, and we were passing it around to just like random people at the venue. They loved it. Everybody loved it.
Until they
and
just
they
found
looked
out what you gave them.
Did you tell them what it was before?
well, everybody looked at me and they go, "Oh my God, this is delicious. What is this?" I'm like,
Oh no.
Well,
fucking woodchuck.
you guys know me, and they're like, "No way." I'm like, "Yeah."
Of course.
Scott prepared this.
Yeah.
And I go, it's what you think it is. And they're like, no, like they had a look on their face, but they didn't give a shit because it's like it's cooked, well prepared, wild game. Everybody loved it.
We gotta find something.
I was super like it was the one and only time I had it.
Yeah.
Will I do it again?
No.
No.
I want to know where this restaurant is that sells coyote for top dollar.
I can't attest to it. I can't give any validity to it, but that's what he said. This restaurant down in the city, this is what they do. This is their recipe. And I'm like, bull freaking shit. No way. No way.
I can totally kind of relate to this because I visited a place down by the city. Beautiful, like inner city. I don't want to say inner city, but it's a farm. It's small. They have a restaurant. Okay, again, not naming any names. They had sumac everywhere. They have all these beautiful buildings with animals that they serve in their restaurant for way more than what it's fucking worth. And there's sumac everywhere. So I'm with the farm manager, and I'm like, dude, tell me why you have this beautiful place with sumac everywhere. Y'all need to cut this shit down.
Yeah, with all these weeds everywhere.
They make a tea out of it. Yep. And they sell it for like $25 or $30 a cup.
That shit grows on my driveway, and I push it over with my loader.
Right. It's fucking sumac, people.
Yep.
So, like, just picture, everything is manicured. Everything. The fences, they're raising pork in an oak grove. So, acorn-fed pork, it's called. It tastes the fucking same as regular pork.
Yeah, but it's $80 a pound.
Right, but it's
ridiculous. But it's super fancy. It's got this awesome name to it.
And there's damn sumac growing out of the sides of and the guy's name was Mike, and I said, Mike, I can't take it no more. Like, I just noticed shit like this. Like, why don't you cut that? It looks fucking terrible. Oh no, we don't cut that. No. We let that grow. We plant it. I'm like, ooh, what? You plant sumac?
Do you know how easily that shit spreads?
Right. It's like a plague.
Oh, yeah.
No, we make a tea out of it and sell it for $35 a cup.
It's like getting rid of that is like trying to get rid of forsythia.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's invasive. It's a it's junk. Oh my God.
So here's a very, very fun thing to share.
Totally has nothing to do with coyote hunting.
No, nothing to do with coyote hunting. When you're walking in the field, have you ever looked down in the snow and seen what looks like blue urine?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't bluebird piss? I don't know. You got me.
Rabbit.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's from rabbit eating the vegetation
like a bird
of hawthorn.
Yep.
And that's something chemically within the hawthorn that the rabbit eats, and it turns their urine blue.
Wait, what are we doing with blue rabbit urine now?
Nothing.
Oh,
Just a
okay.
fun fact.
All right.
I thought you were telling me we were going to make tea out of it.
I wasn't sure where we were going.
Just in invasive vegetation.
Yeah.
Wow. Very informative night. You know?
Fun fact.
We've gone.
Dude, we've been on every
Everywhere.
side.
We've been
of
everywhere
every
tonight.
spectrum. We've been everywhere, man. Everywhere.
Little Johnny Cash.
Yeah. We've been everywhere. We covered politics. We covered common municipality practices.
Yep.
This is the only place, folks, that you're going to get shit like this. Just the random tangents.
Little bit of coyote hunting.
Yeah, a little bit.
little bit.
You know.
Andy, if you're still with us, I hope we answered something of your question.
Yeah. I was totally when he wrote me this message, and I was like, man, he's on to something. And we covered it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
The only other suggestion I can make to you, Andy, is I'm gonna need that address, and we'll come up there and
we'll hang out. We'll
sure.
We'll call and shoot some coyotes with you.
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
Come up. You're not that far away.
Me personally, the best thing to do, new property, getting access, is finding your access points. Where can you park? Snowfall, like I brought up the examples of like, we will park here and have success, but we can't do that now because of the snowfall. It's wind drifted over.
Yep.
So you might have to walk a little further, but find your access points, multiple access points.
Yep.
And I
Wind
say
direction.
multiple access points because you have no control over what the wind direction is going to do.
Yep.
And then you have those nights that it swirls.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That really screws you.
Yeah.
You know, you get to a place you think you're good and you're not.
I love having that like constant 3 to 5 mile an hour. So you know which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you know it's not just drafting that way. You know which way it's blowing, but it's nothing overwhelming.
Geography will affect wind too. If you get into a valley and you got hot and cold.
Geography, but also water source.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a water source at the bottom of that valley, that's going to throw a huge variable into it with radiant.
There's one spot that we hunt, and it's near the river. Like we're facing the river, and every time we go down there, it doesn't matter how the wind is blowing. It's always going back and forth, and this way, that way.
Yep.
It could be 10 miles an hour at the top of the hill on the road. We get down into this spot.
We haven't shot anything there this year, but we did call a triple there, and they winded us.
Yeah, because the wind is so unpredictable there.
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh, it's great. Let's go. You know, we get there, we set up, and then the call's out. We're hand calling, and I've hunted with Josh for so long that like, even in the dark, when he turns and looks at me, I know what he's fucking thinking. And I'm just like, yep, I feel it too, bro.
Oh yeah,
I'm with you. It's hit me in the back. Yes, it is.
But you know, it's like an eddy current. You look at a stream. There's a big rock in the stream, and you got that pile of bubbles that hang out behind the rock. The wind moves
Great
like
analogy.
water.
Yeah.
Wind moves like water. There's one property where we just murder deer. Late season muzzleloader. I go high, Andy goes low. When I go high, the wind, and I walk towards Andy's low, I'm high. I walk towards Andy, and the wind's hitting me in the back of the head. At the bottom of the hill, the wind is hitting Andy in the back of the head, and we're walking towards each other. We know the topography. Soon as you get about this far, you hit that eddy current where the wind is circulating over the ridge and then coming back up the mountain.
Yeah.
It's just like an eddy current in a stream of water where you have that big rock and there's that pile of foam and those bubbles that just hang out on the downstream current of that rock. It's the water circulating around the rock and then coming right back towards the rock in the circular motion. The wind does the same thing over aggressive parts of topography. And when you figure that out, the only way to figure that out is boots on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, it's experience. It's fucking up
Yeah.
and learning from it.
Yeah. Yep. How far can you push that envelope, and what can you get away
to
with?
that. Yep.
Yep.
So, well, my friend, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
And
likewise.
this is what we could go on all night long about different scenarios and situations and how and
pull
what.
Joe Rogan do an 8-hour podcast.
Yeah, I can't do 8, bro.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's always great to have you on.
No, I always enjoy conversation with you guys.
You are a encyclopedia of
Yeah.
information when it comes to this stuff, dude. It's
We
fantastic.
credit a lot of our experience this year to listening. I listen to our own podcast that you're in, like this one, over and over, just to make sure that I didn't miss something you said.
That's a big pat on the back. Thank you.
Well, you deserve it. But we're gonna have to get you back down here.
Oh, definitely.
And we got to come up that way.
Yes.
I was just going to say, I'm really looking forward to bringing you guys up to our stomping grounds.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it too. Andy, if you're listening, you're Andy. I'm gonna need
Andy.
You're Andy. There's something he's gonna have to do for me.
I know what that is. I can't wait. Like
I can't wait.
You've said it before where
Yep.
you love taking people out. You don't care to shoot.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like,
Yeah, I don't care either.
I've
I have
my
fun
share,
when everybody
my
else has
fair
fun.
share.
yeah, I'm gonna shoot. Okay.
Well,
Send it full.
Josh is like, I don't fuck your feelings, man. I'm
Josh is gonna get the dumping quote.
yeah, but
No, I need that three more.
if you don't know, Rush Custom Calls, callers. Sorry, all
That's okay.
handmade by the man. I mean, you right from cutting the tree to processing the wood to making the collar, 100%, all made in house. We use them, love them.
I recommend them to people
All the time.
Yep.
All the time. Get outside the box a little. Yeah, everybody loves e-collars, man. Mix it up. Do like we do. We do both at the same time.
Yep.
It's super fun.
Oh, Carl, do you want to bring up the whimpers?
The whimpers.
Or do you want to save that one for another one? Because just because you just experienced it and it was super, super fun for me to listen to.
Yeah, so, okay, we can get into that for a minute.
Okay, make it quick. I know it's been a long time, but that was another thing I was thinking about. He's got to talk about that tonight.
So, we took Brian out to our spots. We didn't see a goddamn thing, but...
It sounded good. It sounded good, though.
It sounded good. We get to a spot... Batteries are dead in my remote. So stupid. So nervous about making sure everything is set for the night when you came down. My collar wouldn't work. And Brian, who experienced comms for the first time with us, he goes, don't worry, my batteries never die. That's all I hear. We're spread out. And I'm like, okay. Oh, so game on. And he starts with these whimpers. Now... I know of the whimpers in the e-collars. I never used them. Okay. We would do pup fights. We would do howls. We would do challenge. We would do, all of your distress. Never used the whimpers. Never. So you make those whimpers and explain to me why, after the fact. It was a tight spot. Do the whimpers, see if something pops out.
So right off the rip, I give that, non-aggressive invitational howl with a trail off at the end, not short aggressive syllables. I do my best rendition of an invitational female howl,
right?
And I'll do it again, and I'll do it again. So don't necessarily think of your invitational howl as one set of call.
Yeah.
Like I went to my e-collar and I picked Invitational Howl, and that's what I played. And I went through like one quick series. Invitational Howls are multiple. It's a lot longer than you think.
You could never do it too much.
You can't really do Invitational Howls too long in a series. Like if you played it once and you played it again, I like throwing the whimpers in as a sporadic in between to refocus attention. So as you howled, you vocalized, you communicated. How many coyotes have we called in that have not responded versus audibly responded? We've called in a lot more coyotes that have committed to the call without responding.
Right.
Without vocalizing. Like you call, you shut up, you hang out, you wait, boom, there's a coyote. We've had that happen much more than vocalizing coyotes
And
that audibly respond back.
Josh doesn't even know about what I'm about to get into because I haven't told him.
Okay.
So my bait pile, 12:30 at night.
Yep. I was tickled. You got to hear me do what I do, and then you got to experience this in nature.
Right. So as a caller,
as if I was doing that.
Right. As a caller, you can make all the sounds you want, but it's the relationship you get when you hear it naturally. Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Bait pile camera goes off. So I go in my normal attire, my camo PJs, and to go do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I get out there. Snow is light, crunchy as hell. You can't. I swear, if a mouse ran across the field, you could hear it. I get out. I sneak out. Heart's pumping. The camera, is going off. My phone's in my pockets on silent, but it's lighting up, so I know it's the camera. It's the camera. It's the camera. Set up, tripod, gun, everything. Push. I don't even think I hit record yet. I wish I freaking did.
Yeah, I wish you caught that audible.
All of a sudden, I hear the whimpers. So the dog had gone down into the woods off the bait pile. Because of the snow being so freaking loud,
right?
It heard something, spooked it away from the pile, down in the woods, and I hear the whimpers. I heard them. I was so freaking shocked. I just stood there and listened.
Yeah.
So even if that thing was standing in front of me, it's like he says, it's like Brian says, the recording, it's experiencing that in the wild. I've been doing this 15 years, never have I heard one do a whimper.
Yeah.
This thing was whimpering. And I was just standing there like, holy shit. Like, that sounds just like what he did.
So when Carl told me this, my first question was, did you see another coyote?
No, I did not.
100% there was another coyote.
Sure.
Wow.
100%. That whimper also indicates...
This is the key now, kids.
Here's the key thing. You hear that whimper, and it may be labeled on an e-collar as like a female estrus whimper, like getting ready to breed. You will hear that sound during breeding season. I've heard the sound during breeding season, but I've got to witness family group relationships, body language with this sound, correlate it with waterfowl, a comeback call. They do a flyover, you give a comeback call, and then you get the birds to come back. It's very similar to that, where it's not just the female, but the male will also make that whimper. It's like a comeback call, where they're vocally, kind of quietly communicating with each other to come back.
Okay. So it's not like a loud, hey, I'm over here. It's
it's kind
more
of
subtle.
Yeah, like
Yeah, but you had to hear it, dude.
in incognito, like you want to keep it on the down low. You're
Not a howl.
you're using your comms with your buddy to communicate what's going on.
Dude, you should have heard it. It was I can't.
Yeah.
It's the fucking sound for me.
I'm so confident that whimper, and it really is kind of indifferent. Was it a male? Was it a female?
We don't know. I made a bad shot.
Yeah, Carl saw Carl saw an individual coyote, but he heard the sound that he did.
Yep.
Very
Dude, I knew it
confident
too.
to say
Like when
that
I
there
heard
was
it,
another coyote.
When I heard it, I was like, I wish somebody was with me. I was like talking to myself. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
It is.
That's cool.
And it's just.
I hope you all been keeping notes because
Right.
you got a notebook full of tonight.
So I mean, the whimpers, man, tight spots.
So, but the thing that I really try to utilize those whimpers is something I said before with you guys. Of every coyote has ADD. And when I'm squealing and I'm using a distress call and I'm hand calling and screaming into that thing, I start quiet, I pick up the volume, and then you picture that coyote coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here I come. Oh, look, a butterfly. Oh, I smell mouse piss over here. Oh, I smell another coyote over here. And their movement is erratic as hell.
Oh.
And then you want to redirect the focus of attention.
Yep.
That's why I don't like having a constant call going, because I want to redirect the attention, because it's not necessarily full-on commitment. That's the isolated incident.
Mm-hmm.
Your typical coyote is going to spectrums of tone, in my opinion, match the approach of a coyote. It's very erratic. So long pauses, short pauses, but have the pauses in between.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm just straight up vocal, like this time of year, this really is my favorite time of year, because it's like
one of them guys.
It's like turkey hunting. You're straight up vocalizing with that animal. Duck hunting, goose hunting, you're vocalizing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are communicating with that animal,
and
you're getting in their head. You're trying to have a conversation with them and paint that picture. So when I howl and I vocalize, and then I go through my invitational howls, if I hear an audible response, however I react to that. But I like throwing those just miscellaneous whimpers in there sporadically,
like coyotes.
Yes, because
everybody associates a coyote with a pup distress.
With a pup. No,
not
absolutely
the case,
not.
man.
It
might be in there under your e-collar as a pup distress.
The biggest difference with a hand call with a coyote versus a pup distress is the emotion that you're putting into the call. Am I blowing into this because I'm hurt or because I'm having conversation? That's really the big difference between, ow, that really fucking hurt, or I'm talking.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really think about how you're using that hand call to vocalize whether, ow, that hurt, or I'm having a conversation.
Right.
But when I vocalize and I howl, communicate to a vocalization aspect, and then I shut up, I'm picturing the coyote coming in on the approach to investigate what that sound was, and they're doing what coyotes do.
Yeah.
And I want to redirect, like recaptivate their attention, throw a couple little chirps, a couple little whimpers in there.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just jumping on something else, like I got to smash buttons, I got to make sound, I got to do something.
No, you don't have to do that. No.
I'm just a coyote doing coyote things. I already announced my presence,
mm-hmm.
but the big thing is, which way is the wind blowing?
Yeah.
which way's the wind blowing? Can I get away with continuing to stand where I'm standing and just throw out a few whimpers? And that is so huge with having either an e-collar or having a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this before with myself and Andy. We'll set a stand like 800 yards apart from each other. He'll howl, I'll respond, he'll respond, I'll follow up. I go a lot longer than Andy quite often.
We could totally do that.
And then just every now and then, whoever's on the upwind, throw out some more whimpers. Every now and then, just throw out a couple little chatters.
They're not just
couple
for
little
breeding
whimpers.
sounds.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
And I never understood that until it happened to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it sounds like I'm being crazy about this, but that's what it is for me with coyotes is the calling. I enjoy the calling. When you make a sound to make an animal respond to you, turkeys, waterfowl, I don't give a shit what it is. Deer, doesn't matter. That's the fun part.
Yep.
So for me to go out there, now I snuck out there in this crunchy snow and set up and hear it
Yeah.
in its natural aspect. It's like if you've ever heard another time that something that crazy has happened to me, rabbit distress in the wild.
Yeah.
Okay, with a hawk.
Mm-hmm.
Took a
Pretty
rabbit.
short.
Yep.
Pretty short.
Took a rabbit out of the field. We were in the field making hay. It's carrying it off, doing rabbit distress. Okay. Another sound that you don't even, or chirp from a woodchuck. Woodchucks chirp, guys. So
The whistle pig. The beep.
the whistle pig. Thank you. They chirp. Hearing those sounds and then applying it to your calling sequences. That's how you learn stuff, man.
Yep.
In the summertime when we're not hunting, I'm sitting outside listening to them talk.
Yeah.
The pups, the adults with the pups, when they kick them out of the den, they're out of the dens, learning their way. You know, that's what it is for me.
Yeah.
That is the high. I mean, I love shooting them. I love the numbers. We've hit a milestone in the group this year. Smashed our previous numbers. We're at 50 coyotes. That might not be a lot for some people. Some people shoot a lot more than us. Some people shoot 20 a night. I envy you. I would love to do that. We shoot 2 a night, and we're like, fuck it, we're going home.
Yeah.
Like we did something tonight. We shot 50 dogs this year. I think we're up to, well, we're at one bobcat now and 8 foxes.
I don't know.
I think
don't know
7 or
fox,
8
fox numbers.
We've smashed our numbers this year. Smashed them. And it's because, I mean, we've made a lot of good relationships with people and learned a lot of things.
Yes.
I mean, with you, Brian.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Because you have done this longer than we have. We are pretty new. Learning from other people that have spent the time and that are willing to share.
Yes.
Because coyote hunters are funny. Okay.
Yeah. And oh, man, that coyote hunters are funny. And that's really the biggest reason I don't post a damn thing on social media anymore.
Right.
I really don't. I'm so discouraged at
Stepping on each other's dicks.
the jealousy.
It's evil.
There was a face group page 4 years ago, and I posted every kill, everything we did in the field. I did like I kept track of the numbers, the photos, everything that Andy and I produced. And the very, very last weekend of the season, we took our 111th coyote of the season as a pair, Andy and I.
That's 2 guys.
And
Yeah.
two of us, 99% using hand calls, and
That's just epic right there.
but the time, the miles, like we worked hard for that. We had a great time. I love him like a brother. Like we spent 6 months out of the year living together, like traveling, hunting, 90 something of those coyotes came from New York. The rest came from Illinois. The rest came from Kansas. My coyotes were his coyotes. His coyotes were my coyotes. Like everything that died, most everything we were together. So we had hands on 111 coyotes between the two of us in one season. And at the end of that season, I put that one post on one of the social media platforms, one of the groups on Facebook, and I got desecrated with all the naysayers, all the jealousy. You're full of shit. There's no way somebody can do this. You're using hand calls. You're full of shit. And I went back and looked, and I didn't know this. Like I had all the groups. I would share this. So basically, what I would do is I would generate the post from Rush Custom Callers, and then I would share it from Brian Rush, and I would share it to all these other pages.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me publicity. It gives me some FaceTime. It gives me interaction with people.
Yeah,
I like. We're having fun. We're having success, and the very last post that I put on got through on that one social media post, on that one Facebook page. I didn't know this. Every other one was deleted.
Really?
So the only one that went through was the end of the season post.
Jeez.
Where we shot 111. So people had their speculation.
Yeah.
I get that. I get it.
No, because it's hard.
Yeah.
It turned into like one of those like 300 comment. And I don't want to name names. There's a local business in New York that is a thermal optic dealer. My buddy Casey Cornwell owns Nuggets Night Vision. He supplies us with everything. He gives us the hookup.
Mm-hmm.
There is a very big competition between Nugget and this guy. This guy has his in with that one page. I didn't know any of this. So there was some ulterior motives behind it, why everything was getting deleted. One of the admins goofed up, allowed the post to go through, didn't recognize the repercussions of it, and now the shitstorm started. And here come the naysayers.
Like
no,
it's a kind of like the camaraderie is gone. Right. It's a big dick contest.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a part of it. I enjoy what I do. I know what I've established. I get to work with a television show that I get free exposure on a national platform. I give the TV show content. They give me free exposure on a national level.
Yep.
I've been in books. I've been in magazines. I enjoy what I do. I don't have any ulterior motives.
Right.
None. And
same with us too. Like I share the stuff, but
here comes all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, just quick, just to go along with that before we go here. This last week, I was going through just the different apps, checking all the different, see if there was any comments or how videos or the podcast.
Because we always ask, like if. And we have people responding to asking for our 2 cents.
So the podcast gets posted to YouTube. It's just audio. I mean, for those who listen to on YouTube, I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a comment it was 2 days old. I didn't see it. And,
Totally from the left side.
Oh man, I can't even remember. I think hang on, let me see if I can find it quick, because I took a screenshot of it, and it was just like so random.
Somebody had to search us out in order for that to happen,
Like,
Josh.
No
Because
names,
like
you know,
it's not algorithm at that point with YouTube.
no, because we're not big enough.
We're not big enough for that.
Right.
So for something to come up and negative like that.
So it's I'm just gonna read it. It says hunting animals for fun is horrible. Sounds like you guys. I'm skipping some words.
Yep.
Need to stop killing animals and do something good. And like I'm just sitting there. I'm like, how?
Well, that's Nate. That's the way people are with the internet, man.
Yeah,
The
I
first
know.
thing they do is attack.
The keyboard
Doesn't matter
warrior.
what the hell it is.
So I feel like I was very diplomatic about it. And I responded, I go, wow, those are some strong words. I'm sorry you feel that way.
Then what are you doing here?
Like
how did they, I don't think we're that big to where it would pop up like
we
that.
have 42 subs on YouTube.
And honestly, doing something like this, you're gonna grab that attention.
Sure.
I've grabbed that attention.
Sure.
I've gotten plenty of
But we
death
still
threats.
fund your walking trails, so.
Yeah, death
You're
threats,
welcome.
Negativity, those, they're the pine cone.
Yep.
There's the pine cone again.
You're fine.
Yeah, and
You're fine. And honestly, like I had this conversation with my wife, like, pick your battles, have your conversations, try to educate whoever you can. You cannot instigate an argument, or you can't have a conversation about conservation with somebody without instigating an argument when their mind is already made up.
yeah.
Yeah, the negativity is there already.
It's not going to happen. But like with me, I don't give two F's because you're not my target audience. I am not getting business from you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to paint me in a negative picture and slander me and prevent me from fulfilling my livelihood,
Right.
you're
problem.
you're pissing in my Cheerios.
Yep.
Yes.
And I have a big problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it typically will never go that far because those comments don't even hinder my audience.
Yeah, well, see, that's you being the
the
bigger
people.
person and
Right,
stepping
right.
out of it.
And,
Yep.
And like I said, I said to the person, I was like, I'm sorry you feel that way. He responded, it was like, I'm sorry for my comment the other day. And I came back and I was like, no worries, man.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just
We're the most passive people you're ever going to meet,
No, that's great. Like,
and having that
that's
self-control
really a step in the right direction.
with social media, I feel like
is-
sometimes
it's evil.
It's evil.
Absolutely.
Every time you post something or you read a post and the attacking, they go straight to the fucking gutter. You know what I mean? Like straight negative, straight attacking.
When I got all those personal attacks from even the admins on that page, my response was 100-something plus pictures and videos of kill shots.
Right. Because you got a little sour, didn't you, Brian?
Oh yeah,
It happens. That's human nature too.
You pissed in my Cheerios. This is my livelihood. I'm proud of what we accomplished. And fuck me? No, fuck you. Here's the proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
So I forwarded that, and then I heard the backstory from why everything happened. And I'm like, oh, this has nothing to do with me.
Right.
This has competition with somebody with a business that has something
Ulterior
unrelated.
motive.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And like,
And then just to say this out loud, when I told you this, when I updated everything in my shop to go from an HP to a MacBook for editing, when I downloaded, I knew I had a lot. I knew I had a lot of files, but when I actually copied, pasted, sent everything from one file to the next, then I got to see the number of how many files I had. I had over 500 kill shots on that file when I sent it from the hard drive on the HP to the external hard drive before I saved everything, because it's redundant. Like, there's no second takes in wildlife. I back up everything. But when I changed platforms of what I was using in the shop, when I saved all of the files, copied, pasted, and hit send, it was over 500 kill shot videos. And I'm like, huh.
Yeah, that's a good amount.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's we
keep track of that too.
We don't suck at life. We're doing what we're doing our target here.
Right.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing outstanding, I feel like.
Yeah.
But
Doing pretty good.
anyway,
Yep. Okay.
do your bit, Josh.
Do the thing. All right.
Yep. Good night, guys.
All right, Brian. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime. You find us Facebook, the One Predator page,
YouTube,
One Predator Hunts, onepredatorhunts@gmail.com.
Spotify,
Apple, Amazon.
You know, because you're listening
yeah.
to us.
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, this was a good one. Always good to have Brian on. And,
my pleasure.
And pick your brain.
It doesn't shut up. It just keeps going.
That's a good thing, though.
All right. We'll have you back.
Yes.
We'll catch you in the next one.